followed up with a 4-2 defeat of Burnley at home. Last weekend, they went to Manchester City, where they plundered a cool 5-2 win. The only blip on the season so far was
shut that bloke up
in the League Cup. They'll also be taking part in the Thursday Night League, but don't forget about that.
Good morning, Steele. Good morning, and welcome to the latest episode of Eyes Up Mother Brown. We are gathered here today, dear friends, on this special Sunday morning for Leicester City versus West Ham United. A game in daylight, whatever next. I'd like to bid a big welcome to my fellow team members and co-hosts for this morning or this afternoon's game. Big hellos to Gnome, to Pinky,
Morning.
and to Rio, who are looking rather splendid despite this unruly hour for football. And we are going to begin today, as we always do, with our main man, Gnome, going through the teams. Gnome, over to you, buddy.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Big news for West Ham is that Vladimir Kufel has been given the number 5 shirt and starts. Similar sort of lineup otherwise to the Wolves game. We start with Fabianski, Kufel, Balbuena, Ogbonna, Cresswell, Masuaku, Bowen, Souček, Rice, Fornals, and Antonio. On the bench, we have pretty much standard bench there. Yarmolenko, Anderson, Lanzini, Noble, Haller, Johnson, and between the sticks, Randolph. Leicester City starts as follows: Schmeichel, Castagna, Amate, Evans, Soyuncu, Justin, Perez, Tielemans, Mendy, Barnes, and Vardy. And they actually include on the bench Wesley Fofana, who I believe we were linked with not so long ago. So, there you go. You're all up to date with the teams.
Good stuff. No, a little bit surprised perhaps to see the new man thrust straight into the action. What, 48 hours after signing?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's. I think with Frederick's injury, I suppose it's a little bit needs must, and decided that Johnson may not be the wisest of options against the team that are flying high at the moment. So it's a bit of a gamble because usually you'd see a player like that maybe on the bench if you're short on numbers and sort of eased into things a little bit. So
yeah,
it's a little bit of a gamble there, but hopefully it'll work out.
Good stuff. Morning, Pinky. Good to see you, buddy. How you doing?
Morning, everyone. And quick shout out to a few people I know are tuning in. To Luke from Broomfield Hospital, who's unfortunately in there at the minute, and to people I'll dub the Melbourne Hammers for now. And that's my family watching from Melbourne, Australia. So I've dug them out of bed today to make sure they're watching this. But in terms of our lineup today, we're clearly seeing a preferred shape and starting 11 from David Moyes. No question of that. I think to have a new signing go straight into the starting 11 is quite astonishing. I mean, he's probably trained at most once or twice with his teammates.
Yeah.
You know, probably wouldn't recognise half of them in the high street. And such is the lack of depth in our squad. You know, he signs on Wednesday, he starts on Sunday or whatever it is.
Sounds like a song.
Yeah, it could well be. And you know, as for the opposition today, Leicester City, yeah, they've got 3 straight wins on the bounce, but 2 of those wins have come against teams you'd expect to be in and around the bottom 6 come the end of the season. The big result for them was the thrashing of Man City last week. But I think that's more about Man City falling apart than Leicester City being all that good. So I'm going for a West Ham win today, no doubt about it.
Loving the optimism from Pinky. I'm not sure he's not so far out there. You know, it's you quite often see that, don't you? A team experience a fantastic win like Leicester did last weekend and fall apart the following weekend. We certainly know all about that, but having been victims of it plenty of times over the years. Rio, good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Okay, thank you, mate. I'd just like to pick you up on that last comment.
Go for it.
A team that performed marvellously last week, then collapses the week after. What did we do last weekend?
I'm bearing in mind we got smashed at Everton in midweek and hoping that was our come down.
Okay, that's the one out of the way then. Okay, fine. I'm back on track.
No, you're right. Technically, you're absolutely correct, of course. Today, Kufal in the team straight away. Any concerns about that one?
No, not for me. And I like the old school vibe. You sign them, you get them straight in. You get them acclimatised and used to the impending doom and gloom that's going to invariably envelope him in the next 2 or 3 years. Welcome aboard, Vlad. Really good to see you. He's got a nickname already as well, which is very promising. So yeah, welcome aboard, Dick, as we call him. After Dick Emery. Oh, you are awful, but I might like you.
Oh, I was wondering where that one was going, but you pulled it out of the bag there. I like it. I like it. Nice one. Of course, the obvious one, I suppose, would be the Impaler, but I prefer the Dick Henry one.
The character that used to come up with the "You are awful, but I like you" was named Mandy, so perhaps that would be more apposite.
Without sort of straying too far down the Dick Henry path, I was watching an old film channel the other night, and there was a film a Dick Henry film I'd never seen before, and said character was centre of the film. Anyone else seen that or know what I'm talking about?
It's the one where he's got to find loads of different parts of a bank account number. And,
that's it. That's the one.
Yeah. The British film industry wasn't dead at that point, but it wasn't at all well, shall we say?
Yeah, very. Anyway, that's enough about Dick Emery. Anyone under about 100 will be looking at their screens, wondering what the hell we're talking about. But anyway, there you go. Back to the game today. West Ham United taking on Leicester. Leicester absolutely flying in the Premier League, of course, at the moment. But what of our previous matches against Leicester? How have we fared up in the past? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. West Ham and Leicester have met. No, this doesn't tell you. I'm going to have to add this up. There's 134 times we've met in the past. There have been 33 draws. Hands up who thinks West Ham have won more than Leicester. That's Rio and Pinky.
Sorry, I missed that. Great.
I was just saying, hands up who thinks West Ham have won more games against Leicester historically.
I'll bow out on this one because I know the answer. So it's
okay, all right. Well, you're all right, of course. West Ham, but it's very narrow. West Ham have won 52 to Leicester's 49, with 33 draws, as I said. Funnily enough, West Ham have never beaten Leicester in anything other than league football. The 4 games we've met in the League Cup and FA Cup have all gone Leicester's way, but West Ham with their 52 wins, all coming in Division 1 or the Premier League previously. Should we have a little prediction? We don't really do this much these days, but so let's have a little prediction for scores. Gnome, what do you reckon?
2-2.
2-2. Good stuff. Another confident vote for West Ham. Pinky, what are you going for?
2-1 to West Ham.
2-1. Rio?
I'm going to buck the trend. I think it's going to be a 3-1 defeat.
Okay. I'm going to go along with you there. I'm usually pretty positive when it comes to West Ham, but I think we might be in a bit of trouble today. But you never know. Our right back might shock us and we might go out and do something. But
I'll
go
just
with
do a quick technical update because
yes,
I'm not sure if Rio, is your camera working properly? Because you appear to say that without moving your lips or indeed anything. So
I might have to reboot. I won't say what I'm doing in the background because I don't want to get prosecuted by the music industry. Let's put it that way.
I thought that was a pretty.
I think I've just frozen.
It could have been worse.
If Pinky puts
very much so. Yeah, I rescued that one as well.
If Pinky puts his left arm out on my screen, it'd look like a very interesting ventriloquism act. So
anyway, we are just about quarter of an hour away from kickoff. Leicester City versus West Ham United. Most recently, the last time we went to Leicester was in January of this year. Who was up there? Did anyone make that game in January? Pinky, you was there? Gnome as well. A bit of a tough night for us, Pinky, wasn't it? We went down 4-1 on that particular occasion.
If you say so, I'm having to look it up. I can't remember. You know, I mean, I can't even remember the score from the midweek game. Was it Everton we just lost to?
I can't remember.
Which bizarrely was the same. So
when you get a bit older, right, you'll understand this sort of stuff. You know, and it kind of helps because when you have a really painful defeat, you've forgotten about it 3 days later. And I really do mean you've forgotten about it completely. But
let me refresh your memory. Harvey Barnes opened the scoring before Ricardo Pereira scored on the cusp of half time to make it 2-0. Mark Noble scored from the penalty spot 5 minutes into the restart, and Iosi Perez scored twice at the end, 81st and 88th minute, to give Leicester a very comfortable victory. And for what it's worth, I still can't really remember the game. But I wasn't there, of course, so that's even worse, I suppose.
I remember the game. The thing that got me was that at 2-1, we had quite a bit of possession, and we were actually sort of had them kind of on the rack. And if we, we were looking like the more likely to score. Unfortunately, as was too often the case last season, the second or third went in. It was, it's just all yours, guys, and everybody just sort of heads went down, and they got a fourth, which was slightly flattering, I thought, but we didn't deserve to win. But it was all too often when we went behind, the heads went down last year, and that was one of those occasions.
Yeah. But Pinky, are we? Is the memory being refreshed by that summary from Gnome?
No, sorry. I can tell you where I parked. Yeah, I found a great parking spot. I remember that much for a quick getaway after the game.
Okay.
I remember plenty of disgruntlement against the owners that night on the concourse.
Yeah.
So there was there was some fairly loud singing that was opposed to the current ownership on the concourse that night. And quite a few young supporters there that night as well, as I recall. The game itself didn't really stick too much in my memory, truth be told. Just file it under another defeat on the road, and file and forget.
I'll let you a tenner.
Hey?
I'll let you a tenner. Any chance of it back?
Now I know you're lying, because you've never had £10 in your life to lend to anybody.
I'm saving up for it, yeah. Well, the reason I've never had £10 in my life, of course, is that Chalks still owes me that tenner from the infamous mentioning Jacuzzi live on radio incident. So
this one's going on longer than the Carrick deal, I think. This particular thing with Chalks.
If you're watching, Chalks, the interest by now must make it worth nearly 11. So
good stuff. I'm going to say as Rio rejoins us from where he's illegally undergoing some kind of dodgy tasks, we think, but we can't talk about those, of course. Welcome back, Rio. Good to see you, buddy. We're going to say a quick hello to everyone who's joining us in the chat right now. Mark Walker, a good friend of KUMB's. Morning, Mark. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. And let's hope we can get a win up there today. West Ham Mad Dalek Snap, the best named follower, of course, from our live stream, is with us again. How you doing, Mr. Dalek Snap, or Mrs. Dalek Snap? Of course, we don't know. Could be either. Hammer Mulder checking in from California once again. Good to see you, Hammer Mulder. And Hobo and Das Nutnock also back in. A couple of regulars. Good to see you guys on the stream. Let us know what you think is going to happen today. Give us your predictions as well on YouTube. And very shortly, we are going to dip into the KUMB Forum match thread to see what's going on there. Rio, are you okay to accept duties as far as that goes today?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Excellent. All right. Well, we'll come back to you in just a minute when you've had a chance to review what's being said there. Quick look, we haven't really looked at Leicester's team so far. Gnome, is there any surprises for you in there, or is that pretty much what you expect from Brendan Rodgers?
Pretty much as expected. The Belgian lad, his name, who was injured and was always a doubt. So it's pretty much their preferred sort of lineup at the moment, with the possible exception of just looking through. So they're still shepherding Maddison back. He's not even on the bench, who I rate quite highly as a player, but recently he's been coming on for sort of spells here and there as a sub. So they're obviously sort of tricking him quite gently at the moment.
Yeah.
They'll line up. I mean, we know how they play. Everyone knows how they play. Knowing it is one thing. Dealing with it is quite something else, as Manchester City found out last week. Need to be very clever at the back. and very, very, very cute at the back, which is not something we've always been, shall we say?
Yes. Just before we move on, I think we're gonna. I'm just looking at the Leicester team, and I think we need a bit of a pronunciation lesson before I proceed, lest we embarrass ourselves with some incorrect pronunciations. Number 4, I think, is Sointu. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
Sointu.
Something like that, yeah.
Something along those lines. 27, Castagna.
Yeah.
Are we going for?
Right.
Yeah. And what about the substitute number 28?
Fuchs is how it would be said in German. There was that headline, wasn't there? There was a player of the same name, and on one of the major European football websites, where he was leaving and he was going off to Benfica, and the headline was "Fuchs off to Benfica." Brilliant, fantastic.
Yeah.
You know. And for the benefit of Pinky, number 15 is Barnes, like the place in southwest London, Barnes. Just helping you out there, mate.
I'm looking at Uston number 2 for them. Yeah, if he played for Everton, it'd be Uston, but I'm sure he plays for Leicester. It's Justin. Yeah. James Rodriguez, what a load of tosh that is. Not having it.
There you go. So if anyone was wondering, that's thanks to Gnome for the pronunciation school this morning. We are just in time for kickoff. Actually, we're going to be kicking off in about, I don't know. These links are getting worse and worse. We're just about 5 minutes away from kickoff.
Well, players are coming out now.
Just coming out now. Good stuff. Rio, looking at Leicester quickly, anyone there that you're particularly worried about?
Everyone, to be honest. The way they've been playing recently, the performance against Man City last week, it does fill me with dread. And obviously, the main man for them, obviously, is Jamie Vardy. Yep. We all know what he's capable of, and we all know the way he exploits let's put it this way, the officials and VAR. So,
yep.
Let's keep an eye on him, please, lads.
Okay, good stuff. And let's take our first look at the KUMB Forum, Rio. Just see what everyone's saying in the match thread. See if anyone's sharing the enthusiasm that we're feeling here for now, at least. Anyway, on Eyes Up Mother Brown.
There's not a lot of enthusiasm, to be honest. What there is, though, and it's 3 or 4 people mentioned it: Bubbles, Aging, Crouchy, Snodgrass. Last 20 appearances, 7 goals, 6 assists, and then he's not in the 18. People are getting picked rather than how much they cost and how much they actually deliver.
Yeah.
And also mentioned that potentially Cullen could have got a shout instead of Noble, but it looks like he's off to Anderlecht according to today's rumours. But yes, one of our newer members, South African Irons, will it be an entertaining game, I expect. Leicester have had a week of practicing defending their crosses. No cup game midweek, while half of our team have had a midweek game, the spine of the team rested. I think it will go down to how well our wing-backs play compared to the referee's views Vardy. We tend not to be consistent, with the Foxes going for a record of 4 wins from 4 starts. I see a 5-goal thriller in their favour.
Okay, good stuff. That's not too bad. It could be worse, I suppose. Pinky, Jamie Vardy, the danger man, has been for years and years. Loves getting in front of his defender and then putting the brakes on before hitting the deck. Is it Vardy you're sort of looking at as the main fulcrum of Leicester's attack today, or is there sort of someone deeper perhaps that concerns you? Anyone in that midfield?
No, I mean Vardy's the guy that's gonna put the ball in the onion bag, but he's not going to do that if you put your boot just above his knee in the first minute somewhere in the centre circle, is he? And whilst that might lack the Corinthian spirit, this is professional football we're talking about. And, he's a player that is known to, shall we say, play the refs with his theatrics. And if you're going to do that, well, you can't explain when other people take a similar professional attitude. And make sure you've got a sore ankle from minute 1. And, so there you go. That's my tactic. First minute, go in hard, and maybe knock him off his game today. But he is undoubtedly their danger man. The one off the bench that normally tends to do damage against us is Mark Albrighton. So I'd be concerned if he came on. He's the sort of player that can do something from distance and cause some damage. But I think to start off with, make sure Vardy takes a little bit of a knock and loses enthusiasm. Let's put it that way. And they're just showing on screen there, Casper Schmeichel. In my view, he's a bit of a weak link in their team. I think he's a keeper that is prone to making the odd error. Maybe not in the Pickford class, but certainly not as certain as his dad was as a goalkeeper. And I'd be looking to get stuck into him. And I think Souček there, I'd fancy him to score with a header today.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Gnome, you were just about to come in there.
No, I was just going to say it's not been a good weekend for England goalkeepers, has it? Pickford messed up yesterday, and you thought, well, time for Pope to make a statement, and he didn't have a good game either. So I'm just trying to find me gloves. That might be next on the list.
Good stuff, gentlemen. We are just about to kick off. Some more hellos this morning. Hello, it's Mr. Dalek Snap we've established. So hello, Mr. Dalek. Good mornings to Mark English. How you doing, Mark? Good evening to the man himself, Tross. How you doing, Tross? Good to see you on the stream. Let us know what you think of today's game. Tross, of course, arranging those Hammers United debates earlier in the week, which are on YouTube on the KUMB channel and the Hammers Chat channel. If you haven't seen them before, there's going to be one or two more coming up this week as well. Details to follow. We're going to have to do a time check very, very shortly just to see where we are. Have we kicked off, gentlemen? Anyone?
Yes,
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
You're underway.
We're underway. We are 24 seconds in.
24 seconds, yeah.
Okay, so once again, Rio, how about you? Are you in tune with the...
No, I'm not even kicked off yet. I
No,
always
same
get the
here.
BT lag for about a minute.
Yep. Yep. So me too. So Rio and I will be on replays this afternoon. Pick Palermo and Gnome for instant responses. Yeah, we're still everyone's still taking the knee on my stream, and we're just about to kick off. So I think there's about a minute in it. So we are underway. Anyway, it's I nearly said Filbert Street there. That would have been a horrendous mistake, going right back in time. The King Power Stadium, of course. It's Leicester, as we look at our screens, kicking from left to right, West Ham from right to left. Once again, in front of a very eerie, empty stadium. So Richard Van also dropping in onto the stream. Hi, Richard. Good to see you. It is, of course, afternoon now, even though we started this morning, but unusually for West Ham, a daylight kickoff in recent weeks. No, we spoke briefly about Kufal. I can't remember if I asked you now if it was a good idea to throw him in. I think we did. We covered that, didn't we, at the start?
Well, sorry, I was just pausing there because Vardy broke free down the left-hand side. Kufal kind of got bypassed, really. Crossed it in, but it took Ogbonna got in the way, and it ended up in the safe hands of Fabianski.
Okay, do we think they're likely to target Kufal today then because of his, very recent arrival?
Well, I mean, on the one hand, I mean, I don't think it'd be personal on Kufal. They might have been targeting our left hand or their left-hand side, our right, in any case. Yeah. Given that it was either going to be Kufal or Johnson. So that's definitely something that they might have been working on. As Leicester come through, they're coming through the middle. Ball played inside Kufal, but Kufal's read it and clears down the line. Not that far, but let's have the ball at the moment. And well, we've won it back, and Bowen's now bringing it away.
Okay, good stuff. What are we looking to do here today, Pinky? I mean, where do you see West Ham profiting in this game? I mean, you've been quite brave in going out with a West Ham win as a prediction. How do you see that coming about? Do we sit deep, counter on the break, or do we go at them?
No, I think we'd go at them, and I think I would target down their right-hand side. So for me, the key guys today, Masuaka has to push forward and get the balls, sent across into the middle for Antonio literally to get on the end of. I think as well, set pieces with Souček is going to be, I expect some set plays there, whereby I'd expect corners to be knocked deep, then back across the goal for Souček to come in with the third touch, that kind of thing. So I see a couple of set moves, but most of our threat I expect to come down our left-hand side, their right-hand side.
Good stuff. Good stuff. What do we think about the importance of our new man coming in and having a friend already at the club? I mean, Rio, do you think that really helps a player settle into, to a new team?
Yeah, it's certainly a bonus, isn't it? Friendly face, obviously the language as well. And obviously we think that Souček was actually key in kind of recommending him to the club as well. So
yeah,
it's a statement of we haven't just got him because he was cheap. It was a statement that we got him because at least somebody at the club knows what he's capable of. And hopefully his settling in period will be much shorter than it would be maybe for some others.
He just had his first proper touch of the ball. Ball played out wide, and he decided to take on Barnes, push the ball past Barnes. Barnes fouled him. So, but he had the beating of Barnes there on the right, as sort of bringing it out from midfield. Nothing much happening. Sides really sort of testing each other out. Really, I think it's cagey start from both sides.
One thing, of course, that Kufal is well known for is having a burst of pace, and as one particular Twitter account that keeps an eye on Czech football said in midweek, has an extraordinary set of lungs, almost as if he has two sets of lungs. So we don't envisage any problems, I think.
There's a barmaid in my local pub a bit like that last night as well. So I think that's a great thing to have. Yeah, I'm just saying. And if my nieces are watching in Australia, that's my only sort of dodgy comment of the day. Sorry about that, girls. Yeah.
Well, a big hello to the Palermo family over in Melbourne over there. And also, I think from touching on what Pinky said earlier on behalf of everyone at KUMB, Luke, I hope you wish you a speedy recovery from your hospital bed. And we hope West Ham can bring you 3 points this afternoon. It's Leicester City 0, West Ham United 0. We're about 6 minutes into the game. Fairly even exchange so far, Rio, from what we've seen.
Yeah, very much so. Both teams playing the ball around without much end product. Leicester trying to get in behind our fullbacks. It's the way they play anyway, isn't it? So, yeah, nothing much to report. Let's hope in a way it stays like that. I'll be happy with a point today.
I mean, just picking up on Leicester's win against City last week. Martelli was broken and I happened to be on, so I was watching it. And Gary Neville in the commentary was actually making a point quite deep into the first half that he felt that Leicester were playing like a team without any belief that they could actually beat Manchester City. So I think that the final scoreline in that game might kind of not tell the full story about the sort of game that it was. And I think there's a danger here that we're bigging Leicester City up a bit too much.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't think they're an awful lot better than we are at this point in time. This 11 against our 11. I think they've probably got a bit more depth, but I genuinely fancy us here today. I've seen nothing from Leicester today that worries me.
Good stuff. Well, let's hope it stays that way. Leicester are, of course, second in the Premier League going into the game today with maximum points, 9 points from their opening 3 games, looking, as Gnome mentioned a few minutes ago, to win their first 4 games of the season for the first time, I think, in the Premier League. Win so far for City, 3-0 at Albion. That's West Bromwich, not Brighton and Hove, on the opening day. Beat Burnley 4-2 a week later before, of course, putting off that stunning victory at Manchester City last week, smashing Manchester City by 5-2. But as Pinky says, it might not have quite been as easy as that scoreline suggests. But anyway, Leicester off to a flying start so far. Gnome, where are we? We're about 9 minutes in. And
8 minutes and 7 seconds now. Yeah, it's still pretty cat and mouse cagey. Ball been seeing a lot of midfield, not really getting into the final third, although as I say now, Leicester are right, our left. Castagne's got they've got a cross came.
Yeah, I mean, just one thing that I saw there. we saw Declan Rice up pressing quite deep in the Leicester half.
Yeah.
And Leicester broke, and he was miles the wrong side of the ball. And I think for a player that's supposed to be shielding our back four, I think he was probably about 30 yards too far up the pitch for my liking. And I think we need to be a bit careful there, because this Leicester team do have bags of pace, and they'll get in behind you if you haven't got your players in position.
Okay. Gnome, we seem to be having problems with your audio there, buddy. I can see your lips moving, but there's little coming out. So I don't know if you could just check your volume there for us. But anyway, Pinky, thank you for filling in there. It is still Leicester City 0, West Ham United 0. We're coming up to 10 minutes into the game. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, actually, Gnome. I can see your lips moving, but it's. Can you just turn your volume up for us a bit there? We're having a bit of difficulty hearing you, but we've just seen the camera pan to Stuart Pearce in the stands, who once again appears to have his hotline to David Moyes with the mouthpiece taking instructions from the manager, who is, of course, once again still unable to attend today's game, having been diagnosed with COVID-19 a couple of weeks ago. But we think Gnome, Moyes and Diop, and of course Cullen, if he's still here, should be back for our next game anyway. Gnome, can you hear me? Gnome seems to be in a world of his own down there at the moment. Yeah, Rio, how are we looking on the forum? What's the view on the starts from on the match thread?
There's been very, very little activity, to be honest.
Okay.
General thing really is Kufal started well. You could easily argue Cresswell has more natural look in the position he does at left back, but that was after someone mentioned that we look at much more natural shape apart from Cresswell, who obviously is playing the left side of the three at the back. But yeah, very little traffic at the moment, which
that's a good sign.
So
right?
Everyone's at church, or everyone's at church, or everyone's happy.
If people aren't posting, then that usually means they haven't got anything to complain about. So good stuff, I guess, there. About 11 minutes gone. Leicester City 0, West Ham United 0. Not really had a shot from either team so far, Pinky. A very slow start all round, really. Both teams just feeling each other out.
Very, very much so. But in fairness, I think Leicester are looking slightly more composed on the ball than ourselves when in possession. And I am genuinely worried about Rice being a little bit too far forward at times in this game. I can only imagine he's under instruction to do that, but he seems to be moving forward more than Souček. Let's put it that way. And I think against this team, I think that's a mistake.
Okay, we are. Just have to reduce my screen a bit because it's cutting off the time. We're just about 12 minutes into the game. Leicester City 0, West Ham United 0. We haven't seen a lot yet. No, are you with us again? Have we got you back?
Yeah, sorry, I lost all sound. I was talking away at myself, but I lost sound from everybody.
Good stuff. Okay, I was just going to ask you what you felt of the wing backs so far. We haven't really seen a lot, have we, of Kufal and especially Masuaku, who's been pretty much anonymous so far.
Yeah, Masuaku. Basically, there's not been an awful lot down this side from an attacking point of view, from our point of view.
Yeah.
Kufal's had a few touches, looks fairly tidy. As I say, his first real touch was he decided to take on Barnes, went past him and got upended. So, Leicester have a free kick as we speak, central position, 10 yards inside our half. It's floated in towards the left, but we clear it. Bowen's now coming away with it, although he's been hemmed in there, so he needs a bit of help. He's done well there. He managed to get it clear, and players are throwing themselves at the challenges. There's 4 or 5 of them down all at once there, but Balbuena's played a lovely ball down the line, and Antonio's turned well, and he's been fouled there. That was well played from Balbuena, spotted the ball down the line. Antonio did really well, turned his man, drew the foul. Plays continuing. Cresswell's long ball in. Antonio.
Get in!
Oh,
Pinky, West Ham scored.
Yes. Absolutely. After the great work on the right-hand side, and Antonio winning a free kick on that side, we switched the ball left, went to Cresswell. delivered a lovely cross deep to the back
Superb.
stick. Antonio steaming in and buries it, absolutely buries it. Look, Antonio, he's got his hand up. He's saying, send it to me, son. And in it goes. Brilliant. And I think it was Souček running in then anyway, just in case it didn't quite go in. And yeah, good move by West Ham, 1-0.
That was
no,
an
great start.
absolutely marvellous cross. And it was one of those, it was a perfect cross. All Antonio had to do was just guide it back across goal. The angle was perfect. And as you say, I think Souček and Fornals were basically both running in on the post just to tuck up any rebounds. Superb goal. All started from great work from Balbuena on the left.
Yeah.
As we're going forward again, Masuaku is going forward again. He's run into a blind alley there, but we still retain the ball. Back to Masuaku. Cresswell and Masuaku combining well there. Inside now to Rice. We're keeping the ball well here. And having said that, it was a terrible ball back, but we've slightly overhit from Leicester's point of view. But yeah, I was about to say, Balbuena did some fantastic work out on our right, where so I'll cut off now because Vardy's sort of cutting down the line. He's done brilliantly down there, but what a superb tackle in there from is that Kufal? Yeah, Kufal's really sort of blocked off the run from Vardy. Superb tackle, and West Ham come away with it. I'll get this sentence out in a minute when nothing's happening. Balbuena picked up a loose ball out on the right and played the ball down the line to Antonio. Antonio had a fine turn there, got fouled, but we took the quick free kick and it came out wide to Cresswell. That's where the goal all started from Balbuena's good work there. So
yeah, I think you're doing him a little bit of a disservice there. I thought it was very astute intervention. He saw the pass early and dived in rather than it being a loose pass. I thought he did really well. But yeah, I mean, the essence of what you're saying, of course, is absolutely correct. Rio.
No, I didn't say it was a loose pass. Sorry, I didn't mean it was a loose pass. It was a great ball from Balbuena.
No, I meant the pass he picked. Anyway, we know what we're saying. We're singing from the same hymn sheet. Anyway, great stuff from Balbuena. Rio, West Ham ahead. Great stuff. And Pinky was saying this. He thought we could sneak something here. Brilliant start for the Irons.
Another.
Absolutely.
Oh, so it's the same one.
It's a replay, you muppet.
Too early for no. He should be in bed still. Rio.
Yeah, what a fantastic what a fantastic cross. You know, is
yeah.
And I do believe that's Antonio's 4th or 5th consecutive away game and he scored, which it must be a record for West Ham. I'm trying to check it up in a moment.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure
that's
4 or 5 on the bounce, away from home. It's fantastic. Quality cross by Cresswell, great header, you know. And we're doing their own game in a minute.
Yeah.
What I really loved about the Antonio goal though was as soon as Cresswell received the ball deep in their half, Antonio had his hand in the air, saying, "I want it, stick it on my sweet son," and Cresswell delivered the peach of a ball, and that is straight off the training ground. Brilliant move by West Ham United, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, of course, in the old days, quite often West Ham would swing that ball into the near post from where Jeff Hurst would emerge to get his head on it. But it seems that we're going for some 50 years later, we switched to the back post because we've seen that's not the first goal we've seen like that, is it? As Pinky rightfully points out, Gnome, Sebastian Haller scored one like that. And I think Souček also got one very similar to that where, heading the ball back across the goal to score with the head. So
you don't reckon we have a tactic, do you?
well, whatever next. Next. But
to everyone.
Playing off.
To everyone.
Yeah. Unprecedented stuff here from Rush Green. Tactical football from West Ham. But anyway, it's 18 minutes gone. It's Leicester City 0, West Ham United 1. Leicester still, without wishing to tempt fate, to produce a shot at goal. I believe so far, and West Ham doing a fine job out there, Gnome, and looking like worth the lead at the moment.
Yeah, I think also, I mean, the goal sort of obviously perks people up, and you can see there seems to be. I mean, they were working hard to start off with, but you go 1-0 up, and suddenly everybody's like putting an extra pace in there, and it's sort of, there's a little bit of people are sort of challenging harder, and that's a good interception there. We got Bowen down on the right. He's looking to cut in, but there's no option, so he's played it back now to Kufal. But there's definitely a spring in the step, and Antonio getting a goal earlier on, of course, that always chivies him up as well. So, but looking good.
No complaints. 19 minutes in, Leicester City 0, West Ham United 1. Great stuff so far from West Ham. Defensively looking pretty sound as well as things stand, Pinky.
Yeah, I mean, we're fine. As I say, my concern was on Rice's positioning early doors, but he seems to have sorted that out. I'm going to give another shout out to Pablo Thornells here as well, because the work rate from the young man, he is like a man possessed. I think he's been on some special stuff, because he is running and running and running and running and running and running. You know, we talk about sets of lungs, you know, people to know what he does. He does the miles. I'd love to know his stats. I don't know if anyone's got access to them, but I bet he covers more miles than any other player in our team. He's working his socks off.
Yeah, good stuff. Also, I think we've just seen a minute or so ago, Fabian Balbuena anticipate another through ball and step out of defence to pick that up. A couple of times he's done that. He's another one like Aaron Cresswell, Rio, who's received quite a bit of criticism in recent months. But it's good to see players like that, put in a decent performance. And, obviously that cross from Cresswell, as you pointed out, brilliant pinpoint cross for the goal. So good to see those two in particular starting strongly, I think.
Yeah, no, but I think we mentioned last week, Balbuena's pretty imperious against Wolves, and he's carried on today. I mean, a bit of a dodgy spell in midweek, but it sounds like the whole team did amid the mass changes. But yeah, we started off very, very composed today. That little bit we'd intercepted and brought the ball out, it was a sign of his first season form, wasn't it? And where he looked really comfortable, assured, and where he earned a nickname, the General. Cresswell, sliding back into that back three really does suit him for me. He's away directly from the threat of the pace. He's got a little bit more time to watch the ball and watch the game. And yeah, like we said the other week, it's amazing what a little change of position can do.
Leicester on the attack.
No,
sorry, Rio. Leicester on the attack. Got some space out on the right, and there was an attempted through ball that got a very fortunate deflection through, which left them with spare men out on the right. And it's Castagna.
That's the one.
Castagna tried to get across in. It was blocked off for a corner. I think Souček blocked it out for the corner. So Leicester corner on their right. Ball comes in, and Souček meets it. Ball's cleared. Masuaku's on it now and clears long outright. And Antonio's not going to get that, but dealt with fairly comfortably.
Okay, good stuff. One thing I've spotted a couple of times so far, Pinky, we talked about our new right back at the beginning of the show, and I've noticed him drift inside 2 or 3 times so far to sort of cover Balbuena and Angelo Ogbonna, just to perhaps to shore up the central areas when required. But what do we make of the new man so far? Doing okay?
Yeah, I think he's doing fine. I mean, normally you'd say, a player that's come from an overseas league straight into this one without any real sort of warm up would be a cert for a red card today. But the problem I think we've got today is just in front of that back four of our, or back five of ours. Leicester are managing to pass the ball through our middle quite nicely, and I'm not sure we're quite at the races between Souček and Rice yet. But nasty challenge there from Leicester on, who was it, Cresswell?
I think that might have been on Fornals. Masuaku went down the left, and
it's Fornals.
Mendy went straight through the back of him, and first yellow card of the day goes to Mendy anyway. So free kick to West Ham on the left.
Okay, good stuff. We are rapidly approaching the 24-minute mark. It's Leicester City 0, West Ham United 1. As the gents were pointing out there, Mendy, a very naughty tackle on Fornell's going right through the back of him. One of those that anyone who's played will know that's painful. And rightly a yellow card for Mendy for Leicester there. As Gnome says, the first caution of the day.
Antonio's bursting forward, loose ball from Leicester there. Antonio tries to play the ball inside the fullback there, but he's read it well, and Leicester bring the ball away. But no, this for the first time, Vardy's been playing on the shoulder of Ogbonna, and Ogbonna stands up superbly well to him. Vardy's getting no change out of there and ends up fouling Ogbonna. Well played, Oggy, and free kick to West Ham. But that was the first time we've seen Vardy having that space to try and sort of get in behind the defender. Ogbonna won the ball there, and Vardy in a wonderful sort of reversal of the norm. Ogbonna drew the foul from Vardy, so West Ham deep in Leicester territory at the moment, but it's come back now. So carry on, Gray.
Good stuff. Match stats. Let's have a look at the match stats. We're just over halfway through the first half. Possession-wise, Leicester on top with 60% possession to West Ham's 40. Each team has managed one shot each. Of course, the only one that's really counted is the goal for West Ham, which arrived on 14 minutes from Aaron Cresswell's cross to the far post, where Michael Antonio leapt like a salmon to get his head on the ball and send it back across goal to give West Ham the lead. Corners, 2 for Leicester so far, none for West Ham. Fouls, Leicester have made 6 fouls and West Ham just the 2 so far. So reasonably even as far as things go. Rio, we've been a little bit critical of Declan Rice, in the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. He, Pinky's pointed out that he didn't really have a pre-season, and he's looked a little bit sort of slow and off the pace. What are you seeing out there today? Any signs of sort of a re-emergence, or do you think he's still struggling a little bit?
I don't think he's at his best today. I mean, he had a decent game against Wolves. I think that Pinky was right. He's playing a little bit too far forward for me. The high press does work at times, but with Leicester's pace on a break, we could get exposed. No, it's just something to keep an eye on. I mean, he's obviously grown back into his fitness. He's grown into the role as a captain. You just got to wonder whether all the talk off the pitch is affecting him a little bit,
Yeah.
It can't be easy for that. I mean, even if it doesn't end up moving, all these kind of hearsay can't be easy for someone of his age to deal with. So that might be affecting him a little bit as well. Just going back onto another little stat, apparently, since his first goal in the Premier League, no one has scored more headers than Michael Antonio over the last 5 years in Premier League.
Great stuff. That is a good one. Another good stat today. Rio, the man with the numbers, out there for us, as always, pulling out all the good stats. Kufal, just a couple of thanks, Rio. A couple of points being made in YouTube chat. Dasnut saying that Kufal has looked very good defensively so far. Mark English saying he's having a decent debut. So let's hope that continues. But he does know it looks so far as if he's managing to slot in pretty seamlessly into that defensive 5.
Yeah, and you mentioned it earlier on where he's come inside a couple of times.
Yeah,
and it's usually tracking the run of where Vardy's come from deep.
Yeah,
which isn't always too easy to pick up. I've just got a free kick. He's just been fouled there. It's just somebody. Vardy's just gone through
the back of him. I mean, it's a vicious. Yeah. That's a yellow card all day long.
It's not
what you're doing.
It's the second leg, the follow through, gone right through the back of him there. He's got up. I'd like to think Vardy's card is marked there from somebody. Vardy's a bit lucky there because, whilst the ball has been won, it's the sort of second leg follow through that was the deliberate nasty bit, and
And Vardy knows what he's doing there. I mean, you know, he's a seasoned pro, and he's played far enough down the league system out of those sniding, nasty little fouls. And where's our enforcer who's going to actually say good afternoon, Jamie Vardy?
If that had been done to me back in the day, my good mate Dave Craigs would have had the perpetrator planted over the fence somewhere 5 minutes later.
Yeah,
I never had to foul anyone. Craigsy did it for me.
Fortunately, Kufal is back on his feet.
He's fine now. We're up and running again. He's fine now.
Yeah, looks
that's
okay.
one where Bonzo would have come in for a foul on Trev, wasn't it, in the old days?
Yeah, exactly. No one, of course, quite like that in the team at the moment, but you never know. Souček might decide to, help his checkmate out and go give Vardy a touch of the old East European magic a bit later on. Pinky.
Yeah, I mean, if I had a concern about our team in terms of its overall setup, I don't think we've got a player of that ilk in our lineup. You know, I don't see Souček as a leave a footing kind of player. I don't think Declan Rice is. I think we lack a bit of nastiness in us.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not suggesting that's your first option, but what you never do is let other oppositions take the piss. And
that's a lovely ball run, by the way. Antonio on the edge of the box, plays it square to Bowen, gets the shot away, but it's blocked and it goes out for a throw-in. Lovely ball and run. Ball played into space where I'm guessing Antonio was pointing for that because it was a lovely ball inside and nothing came of it, but nice bit of football.
Pinky, is it possible to play that way these days with, your old, we had your old midfield enforcers, the Bonds, the Dixies and players like that. Obviously every team had a player like that in the day, but is that possible the way that football's changed?
I think most teams would have a seasoned professional somewhere in their midfield who would know enough of the dark arts to actually do it and just to say, do you know what, if you want to play like that, we can do it as well.
Yeah.
I just think in this particular starting 11, I mean, Pablo Fornells, you know he's never going to forget his mum's birthday. I think Souček, is home in bed with his wife at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. They're all nice boys, if you get my drift.
Oh, here we go. Bowen's on the edge of the box, gets the shot in, it takes a deflection. Oh, it's just gone over. Again, some good football from West Ham. Soyuncu.
That's the one.
Got the block in. Bowen made himself some space and got the shot away, but Soyuncu didn't know an awful lot about that. Stuck his right leg out and it flicked off his left. A foot or two lower off that deflection, and Schmeichel was stranded. But we have the corner anyway. Corner being taken on our left.
Let's stick with that, Gnome.
Yeah. Players lining up. Obviously, Souček amongst them. Cresswell's going to take the corner. And let's see what we do here. Ball comes across, played into the centre. Oh, everybody missed it. Nice turn from Masuaku. We've still got the ball. And Kufal plays the ball in, and we've got another header in, but it's come off the top of the head there, I think, Souček rather than anything else. Schmeichel comes out, gathers safely. So,
okay,
nothing much there.
Good stuff. Also, perhaps worth pointing out there that chance set up by Pablo Fornells, yet again, one of those quick thinking passes over the top to release Bowen, who raced through and had the opportunity that was blocked for that corner. Pinky, you were just making that point there about your good old the enforcers of the good old days, and in comparison to what we see these days.
Yeah, and particularly when you're going to be playing a team like Leicester, and a player like Jamie Vardy, who you just know he will push the rules to the absolute limit, and as soon as he gets it back, he'll cry to the ref like a 2-year-old. But do you know what? I could live with that. I think he's so professional. He's borderline unprofessional, if you get my drift. Which is a kind of a compliment. He's the sort of player you love in your own team, but you hate in the opposition's. But I just don't see anywhere in our lineup that we've got anyone that's going to leave a mark on the opposition. And maybe that's a good thing. I don't know.
I just saw when that tackle went in, they went in and focused on Kevin Nolan, who seemed rather incensed. So maybe Nolan will have a kick out at him. Long ball, and Fornals is through here.
Get in!
It's 2-0. I don't know where that's come from.
It was in rugby terms, it was a Gary Owen put up.
It was an up and under.
It's the ball's in there, holding it coming down. Fornals has dashed forward, got on the end of it, torn into the box and got a low shot that's beaten Schmeichel down to his right, just inside the near post. So great. I mean, and he's miles onside. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Cressel's just aimed it forward, and Fornals has timed the run perfectly and played it in at Schmeichel's near post. I mean, his first book touch to bring it down was superb, and great finish.
Hang on.
And tell you what, the most surprised person on the pitch, looking at the look on his face, it would be Fornals.
And he's just held his shirt up, and it said a message underneath that said, "That's for you, Billy Dino on KUMB." Okay, I've just made that bit up, but sorry, Billy, if you're watching, mate. Pablo Fornals, what does he do? That's what he does.
It absolutely come from nothing, the goal. I mean, it's essentially an aimless punt from Aaron Cresswell, throwing for West Ham, closed down and under pressure, and just seemed to, hoof it upfield. But unbelievably, Pablo Fornals, Rio, just ghosted away. I mean, and also let's not forget, as Gnome pointed out, what a fantastic first touch, Rio, that is from Pablo Fornals.
Yeah,
ball under control.
Just watching it there, it kind of bounced just before he got his foot onto it to control it. That first touch was amazing, but the finish as well, 1-on-1, composed. Schmeichel was a big lump. Yeah, he's put it just down to his left, just enough by distance away. Jesus, that first touch, absolutely amazing. I can't be happier for anyone else like I feel at the moment, because I can't believe the amount of stick he's been getting over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't disprove a little bit of the doubters wrong, I know it's only one goal, but that technique was amazing. The finish was amazing. And combine that with his work rate and his vision, I mean, what more do you want? Really, what more do you want?
Absolutely. 36 minutes gone. Leicester City 0, West Ham United 2. Who would have thought that at the start of the game? Well, I know someone who did, because he's sitting next to me, the Pink Palermo, who predicted that West Ham are going to... or down, as it depends on where you're looking.
Yeah,
he's that side for me. But anyway, great call by Pinky. Of course, there's still an awful long way to go. But Pinky, surely key for West Ham now at this point is just retaining this 2-goal cushion until half-time and not do anything silly.
Absolutely. We've got 10 minutes to the break, and the job now is just to make sure that Leicester go in with 0 next to their scoreline.
Yeah.
A third for us would be a bonus beyond my wildest dreams. I'd settle to go in at the break 2-0 up. But again, we're
here we go again.
Antonio's tearing forward now deep in the Leicester half. I mean, again, plays the ball, suspicion of offside for Bowen there, but who cares? Antonio tries to do the full Pele from escape to victory, doesn't quite pull it off, and Leicester bring the ball forward themselves now. Easily cut out by the general and played back to Fabianski. Good performance so far by West Ham. Ball's coming left, working forward. Fornals on the ball now, turns, plays it to Rise, plays it back to Fornals. I mean, this is champagne football by West Ham. Leicester who? Champions of what? Do me a favour. We're battering them today.
Aaron Cresswell, of course, as has been pointed out by Mark English in YouTube chat, with 2 assists now today. So fantastic stuff for our left back, or former left back, who's been so often criticised. I also think that Balbuena is having an absolutely brilliant game out there today. He's not put a foot wrong. He's had his
Leicester,
head.
Leicester had a free kick a few moments ago, and I say that lovely ball play from Antonio inside the fullback. Bowens.
Went down well played, Johnny Evans, because you know what? He's just cut a lovely cross out there. Had he not done that, Antonio would have just tapped it in. So
that's a great ball from Antonio, as I say. Evans at full stretch puts it out for a corner, but that's 3-0 if he doesn't do that.
Okay, it's well, it is 2-0 as things stand, and we'd all take that right now. Great stuff from West Ham, as Pinky says. Champagne football from the Irons so far this afternoon. Rio, this feels like an opportune moment, my friend, to dip into the KUMB Forum match thread.
Well,
and
wait
just
for the corner.
All right, let's have the corner first. We'll come back to that.
Oh, Antonio didn't quite get on the end of it. Ball's out left with Rice. Cresswell, second cross in, but Schmeichel's gathered that safely. So, yeah, all yours, carry on.
Over to you, Rio.
Yeah, no, as expected, everyone is absolutely over the moon about the way we've been performing so far. There's a lot of praise for the first goal for Cresswell and his cross. A lot of praise as well for the way that, obviously, that Fornals has taken that goal.
Yeah.
Also, notably, Kufal is coming for a lot of adulation. So much so that Wormley's put, if he carries on like this, he'll be sold before Wednesday.
Magic. Love that. Anything else in there, Rio?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it, mate, because another thing that was brought up was about Vardy. It took 11 minutes before Graza become the first person of the day to mention what a dirty side Leicester can be, and Vardy in particular. And he put again, Vardy should have been kicking the ball away after he fouled off Bonner, because I've had a second for the foul and co-foul. Well, almost certainly have a dive at some point, but he never ever gets.
Okay,
sorry, Rio.
Let's just cut off there. Gnome, coming to you for a second.
Sorry, Rio, but there's a very good chance for Leicester. They got in down out their left, but ball was pulled back and Rice just got back and put the foot in. So, but it was a lesson that we need to be a little bit cautious. You know, let's go in. What we got 5 minutes to half time or so. Let's go in with the 0, with the clean sheet.
Okay.
Sorry,
Good
Rio.
stuff.
Just a dodgy moment there.
Okay, we're just 41 minutes gone. Leicester City near West Ham United 2. Rio, let's come back to you. What's anything else from the match thread on the KUMB forum?
I'm just trying to catch up. But yeah, Simon Hammer again put about Vardy. He gets away with absolute murder. Billy Dino is coming for a little bit of a couple of comments following the Fornals goal. But to be critical of him, he did acknowledge what a good goal it was himself. And Samba, just summing up what we said, exquisite control by Fornals, superb. Perhaps we like playing on a Sunday. But another thing
well played, Suchek.
Is when did we ever take a free-flowing football attacking, counter-attacking side?
No complaints today, of course. We're absolutely looking brilliant so far. Fantastic half as things stand. We're 42 minutes into the game. Leicester City nil, West Ham United 2. Goals coming from Antonio in the 14th minute and Pablo Fornals with an absolutely superb goal. Brilliant control, brilliant finish on 34 minutes. I'll come back to that Fornals goal at half time if we can. Just want to talk about that finish because I've got a feeling it looked slightly like the ball was going away from him and as if he was about to lose control and sort of swung a boot perhaps a bit. But anyway, we'll come back to that. Perhaps I'm being a little bit too critical, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's in the back of the net and it's 2-0 to West Ham. A couple of comments coming in on the YouTube chat. Gentlemen, feel free to jump in if anything overtakes this on the field. Das Nutnock says, stunning skill from Fornals there. Steve Palmer, Fornals, what fantastic skill. Polaroid says, Pablo Fornals out-Vardying Vardy. Very good point, actually. Hobo says, that's brilliant from Fornals. And Das Nutnock says, so mods, how are we feeling about a back five now? No complaints here. And we'll come to the other gents in just a moment. Tony Mitchell says, Antonio and Bowen are linking up well. And Charlie Zone says, the pink Palermo needs to be hired by Sky Sports. What's that all about? We can't afford to lose our star.
They couldn't afford the transfer fee from KUMB.
Right.
I mean,
They need a cleaner, do they?
cheeky fucker.
Das Nutnock says, Suchek is such a brilliant player and he's got absolutely everything we need in that position. Everyone doing really well today, as Rio said on the KUMB.com match thread forum. Everyone really eulogising over our new right back as well. Pinky. Sorry,
on
Pinky.
the time on tradition, I'll just apologise to viewers at home if they heard any inappropriate language just a moment or two ago. Yeah.
That's your move to Sky, gone up to Swanee straight away, I'm afraid. Yes, I'd like to apologise on behalf of KUMB.com for any inappropriate language you may have heard. Anyway, back to the game. 44 minutes gone. Leicester City 0, West Ham United 2. West Ham looking absolutely brilliant. Leicester shocked and stunned by what they've come up against today. We did say it. They performed brilliantly last week. It's not uncommon to see a side come off the back of a superb performance and, you know, fail to emulate that a week later. We're seeing the embodiment of that here today. Of course, I'm referring to Leicester, not West Ham, who had an equally good performance, as Rio pointed out, against Wolves last weekend. Gnome, coming up to half time now. What are we thinking? Are we, you know, we're happy with what we've seen, of course, aren't we, so far? Delighted, over the moon, as they say, Brian.
Yeah. Well, I'll cut off from there because there's doing a run into the box and he's thrown himself to the floor as Barnes there. I mean, I know we've seen stupid penalties given and the refereeing in this country isn't very good, but if that gets given, I'm switching my telly off. But he's trying to run between a couple of players, thrown himself to the floor. Nothing happening there. But yeah, I mean, we've got to be happy. Maybe it's something I'll have a chat about at half time, but there's a couple of things sort of tactically that have been worked on, obviously in training, and are spot on. But you know, Leicester did have, I wouldn't say it was a spell, a couple of minutes earlier on, and it was all it was Souček suddenly put an interception in, put his foot on it, pushed himself past, and it just calmed it all down. And it was a superb piece of play from Souček there. We got the standard 1 minute I'm adding on to make it look like I've been paying attention of stoppage time to come. Why did they do that? I mean, there really shouldn't be any. There haven't been any stoppages. But
no, I want to ask you quickly about the referee. You are, of course, our main critic of the officials, where the Eyes Up Mother Brown streams are concerned. What do you make of Andy Maddy's performance so far?
Yeah, it's been okay. I mean, a referee with a more in-depth knowledge of the game, as we've been suggesting, might have got the card out for Vardy, that challenge, which was very naughty. Half-time whistle just gone, by the way.
Okay.
It generally has been okay. You know, he's not done anything wrong apart from that one Vardy incident. But yeah, as I say, it says something that there was him and I think Preview Percy mentioned it. Him and David Coote went over to somewhere in Spain for a FIFA training camp, and basically they didn't get past the first day because they couldn't pass the fitness tests. Which, if you want to know the reasons why we haven't got any referees at the last World Cup, well, we haven't got any good enough and fit enough. So,
okay.
But
I suppose
it's been all right. It's been all right. He's not had much to do.
Yeah.
It's been an easy game, really.
Thank you, Gnome. As Gnome pointed out there, it is half time. Exactly 1 minute of additional time played on top of the regulation 45. And we go into the interval in, it's a wonderful, wonderful situation for the Irons. Leicester City 0, West Ham United 2. The goals coming in the 14th minute. And Aaron Cresswell cross onto the head of Michail Antonio, who sent the ball back across goal into the far corner to put West Ham ahead. A lead that was doubled 20 minutes later in the 34th minute. Aaron Cresswell getting another assist, receiving a throw and putting a long punt upfield, which Pablo Fornals raced onto, getting away from the Leicester defence, taking it down with an absolutely brilliant first touch before poking the ball with his left foot under the keeper to make it 2-0. Pinky, summarise that first half for me if you can, please.
Outstanding performance by West Ham United. Probably our best 45 minutes for at least a couple of seasons for me. Dare I say it, David Moyes dialing it in. I think that's the phrase, isn't it? And we're well in control here. The off-the-ball work rate from our players has been immense.
Yeah.
And who would have thunk it? sign a couple of more youthful players, get a bit of energy in the team, get the balance of the side right, and suddenly we look at an altogether different proposition. And for my money, the system that Moyes is put together with the personnel that he has is the way to go. And dare I say it, you know, he's delivering champagne football on brown ale budget. And you have to credit the manager, but more so you credit the players. The application today from Pablo Fornals, from Antonio, from Kufel, the new lad. The lads are working well, and even Balbuena generally has looked a lot more comfortable today. One mistake from him just very near the end there when he was caught badly out of position, but we're coping with them. And if it stays like this, you'd say, well, you'd probably be putting more money on West Ham to get a third or a fourth than Leicester getting one. Really well played, West Ham.
And the man we earmarked as the real danger at the start of the show, Jamie Vardy, barely involved, Pinky, so far, apart from, to commit that horrendous foul on Kufel.
Indicates why he's resorted to the dark arts, because he can't get in the game because he's not getting the balls fed through to him that would normally be his meat and drink. Dare I say it, if he was in our lineup today, he'd probably be loving it, and we're kind of out Leicestering Leicester, so to speak. So we've been outstanding today. It's been really good football to watch. Very happy with what I've seen.
Absolutely agree. Fantastic stuff from West Ham so far. Rio, what did you make of that first half then? Incredible scenes, really, at the King Power Stadium.
What more can you ask for? We're playing
You're almost shocked there.
Playing great football. We're out Leicester in Leicester. When they hit on a break, when they hit teams with pace and power, they look frightening at times. But we're doing that to them. Every single player to a man has been impeccable. I can't fault anybody. The work rate's there, intelligence is there. And I'm at a loss to find anything critical to say, because for the first time in God knows how long, every single man stepped up to the plate and delivered against a side which is high flying. Was they second today? They could go top if they won today. We're making them look stupid, to be honest. We're doing everything that we need to. I'm just also delighted that some of our lesser lights, like Aaron Creswell, not only has he produced 2 assists, but he's also been incredibly solid at the back. For someone who's been criticised for his lack of pace since the injury, against a really pacey team, him and Balbuena are coping admirably. I've got some comments from the forum to bring up once you're ready as well.
Fire away, go when you like,
E17 has put, it's the best first half I can remember in at least a couple of years. The new lad looks brilliant, and Antonio and Bowen have become a tag team, and Fornals continues to be a build as a player. Remote working is obviously the answer in football too, referring to obviously David Moyes' absence. Wolf 359 has put, we may be 2 up, but our defensive performance as a whole team has been fantastic this half. Controlled, professional, full of energy. We don't see it often enough. Also, Brother Nero, every player is having a belt of a game for us. Going to break at 2-0 up, and there'll be chances on a break in the second half for sure. And the last one is Simon Hammer, who agrees with Brother Nero there. Couldn't agree more. Every single player has been superb, with perhaps Creswell the pick of the bunch. Kufel settled nicely, and the formation suits our players and plays to our strengths on individual levels as well as collectively as a team. What a half of football. Let's keep it up and put these to the sword in the next 45. And I can't disagree with any of them comments there from our forum members.
Thank you, Rio. Gnome, isn't it wonderful to see everyone so happy for a change? Everyone was kind of really, we sort of felt it a bit against Wolves last week. It was sort of a bolt out of the blue, smashing the Wanderers off the park. We kind of brought down to earth with a dose of realism at Goodison Park on Wednesday. But this is, as Pinky says, and as Rio says, 1 or 2 of the members of the KUMB Forum pointed out, this is one of our best 45 minutes of football, for the last season or 2. What do you make of it all?
It has been superb. tactically, they've kind of got it spot on. As I say, I said that at the top of all this that we needed to, obviously Vardy is obviously going to be a danger man, and everyone knows how they play, and they try to get him on the shoulder of a lone defender. And I also said, knowing that and dealing with it are obviously two different things. But I would say that in that 45 minutes, only once has Vardy been left one-on-one with a defender, and Ogbonna played that superbly well. Every other time they've watched it, they've played compact at the back. You mentioned it earlier on where there was the chance that Vardy might get onto that position. Kufal has been aware of it and has come in and covered. Similarly, Cresswell has also been aware. So tactically, they've got it spot on. Need to do that. Obviously, need to concentrate for another 45 minutes. And having watched us for 50 years, I always worry about the first 10 minutes of the second half because there are times. I'm guessing the number of times that we've conceded goals in those first 10 minutes of second halves, having had a decent first half, that would worry me. But can't complain. 3 cheers so far, and just make sure we carry on doing that in the second half. Just a little bit of a shout out. If Pinky can do Australia, I can actually do Leicester, and say hello to my work colleague Stephanie, who is a Leicester City season ticket holder. I had a comment from her a minute ago saying we're definitely missing Pratt and Ndidi. Our defence aren't working hard enough, but she still thinks it's going to be 5-4 to them. So we'll see, Stephanie. We'll see. Absolutely. Sorry, if I say no complaints, it makes it sound like I'm looking for something to complain about. I'm not. Nothing but praise for that performance.
Great stuff. Okay. I'm kind of reminded in some way, of the start of the 1985-86 season with what we're seeing in the last couple of weeks. The enforced change that John Lyall had to bring about when Paul Goddard was injured, putting Frank McAvenny up front. There's sort of some parallels, I think, or similarities with what David Moyes has done in the last few weeks. And also the injury to Diop, and forcing Balbuena back into the team. Balbuena, immense last week against Wolves. Fantastic start again today. The shape has changed to accommodate, what we've got, and the fact that Moyes knows we can't really play a 4-4-2 or a more attacking formation. So I can kind of see a parallel or two there. Pinky pointed out that your exact phrase was champagne football on a Brownell budget, which I thought was a fantastic line. And Pinky, that's definitely what it's been really so far. Champagne football, brilliant stuff.
Yeah, and good managers, don't complain about the players they don't have. Good managers get the best out of the players they do have. And for David Moyes, he's got a £42 million signing that he's not picking, a £40 million signing that he's not picking, both signed by another manager.
Yeah.
An 18 or 19 million pound signing that he's not picking. The club captain, he isn't picking. He's picking the best team to win a game of football. Yeah. And, you can argue all day long. You look at our bench and say, well, is there a centre back on the bench? And the answer is no, there's not, because he doesn't have another one to put on there. Yeah. So what he's doing is he's saying, right, who are the best players I've got to give me a team that will be competitive in a given game. He's gone with a system-based approach. And, I know a lot of our supporters, because they can't see a recognised second striker on the pitch and that sort of thing, have concerns. Mm-hmm. But whether it's 5-4-1 defensively or 3-4-3 going forward, the fact is it's working. It's absolutely working. And you look at that West Ham United team that we've just seen there, you have to credit David Moyes, because, the players that have come in, Bowen, Souček, and now the new lad Kufal, they've all done very well. They've done very well indeed. So he's spent what money he has had wisely. He hasn't had a fortune to spend. I think we've only put £2 million down for the new right back, so makes you wonder where the other £18 million from the Dean Garner sale is going to go, because I think I'm right in saying that the club said every penny of that transfer fee would be reinvested in the squad for the manager to spend on players. So we're going to have a heck of a Sunday tea time on Monday morning, signing players inside the transfer window, aren't we? I mean, because it wouldn't be like the club to lie to us, would it? No, they wouldn't do that, would they? So
Of course not.
I know
Of course not.
a chunk of change that is going to buy us just a stunning centre back or something like that tomorrow. But to be fair to Moyes, he's got 11 players that he can get a team out of. The problem comes, of course, come December, 3 of those players will be injured at any point in time, and we desperately need the reinforcements. So he gets a gold star on the margin today. I'm afraid the chairman still gets a black mark because he hasn't kept his end of the bargain. And I know people are getting tired of me going on and on and on about it. But, Brendan Rodgers, he wants a player. He just goes to his chairman and says, I need a player.
Yeah.
David Moyes, he fills in, documents in triplicate, pleads really nicely round the clock, even gets COVID-19 and still can't get the transfer budget he probably deserves, because he's not wasted an awful lot of money as West Ham manager.
This is, of course, a Leicester team that have been scoring freely so far this season. They scored 3 on the opening day at West Brom, 4 the following week against Burnley, and then 5, of course, at Manchester City. 12 goals in their opening 3 games. They've had, I believe, 1 shot so far in the opening 45 minutes. Yeah, just one effort on goal in the opening 45 minutes. The key man, Jamie Vardy, completely played out of the game by Fabian Balbuena. And let's not forget, let's just take a quick look at this 5-man defensive unit that West Ham are playing today. Arthur Masuaku, a £6 million signing from Olympiacos. Fabian Balbuena, £4 million. Angelo Ogbonna, £8 million. Aaron Cresswell, £4 million from the Championship 4 or 5 years ago. And then, of course, our newest signing, Kufal, coming in for a shade over £5 million this week. No huge money spent on any of those, but as a unit, they have been completely cohesive and are working fantastically together this afternoon. Yes, indeed, it is the afternoon now. Brilliantly drilled, as Pinky says, by David Moyes, Alan Irvine, Kevin Nolan and the team over at Rush Green, it appears so far. Of course, we've got another 45 minutes yet. It could all go tits up and as far as we can, as far as we can see. But Pinky's saying no, he doesn't think it's going to happen.
I can't believe what I've just seen. They've just shown our team come out early and do proper warm-up exercises before the second half.
Yeah.
Borderline professionalism. This can't go on.
I think we saw that at Everton, didn't we, on Wednesday? They were down by the touchline warming up.
Yeah. I mean, what are they doing? You'd like to think that 1 or 2 of them would just be getting out of the betting shop, having, just scooted in there to place a couple of quid on something. But oh no, and the second half is underway.
We are back underway, as Pinky says, at the King Power Stadium. It is Leicester City 0, West Ham United 2. Just very quickly, let me run through the stats for the first half there. Possession-wise, Leicester 65% to West Ham's 35%. Leicester just 1 shot at goal, and that one not on target. West Ham 5 shots at goal, 2 on target, 2 corners each. Leicester committing 7 fouls to West Ham 3. No.
Well, that was nearly a disaster. Leicester very early on ball played inside Balbuena. Vardy flicked it up. It came back off Balbuena. Played it back to Fabianski, didn't really have an awful lot of space to deal with the kick, who kicked it to the edge of the box. And I think that was Barnes, who basically really should have done better with that, but just sliced it wide. What was I saying about let's come out at half-time and concentrate? Well, we didn't there. I hope that's a wake-up call. But we're in possession now anyway. But that was a bit dodge.
Yeah, very... fortunately, Barnes making a complete hash of the attempted volley there, and West Ham escaping. But I just wonder, Rio, if that's part and parcel of why we're getting them out to warm up on the touchline, to kind of get the brain matter, back into sort of a a positive state and, you know, get everything moving before we actually get back out on the pitch.
Yeah, you would have thought so. Like, we all know the history. Every single West Ham fan knows the history. Once we go in at half time, we either mentally or physically switch off.
Yeah.
So getting them out early, getting the muscles warmed up, keeping the brain sharp, exactly what's needed. And yeah, hopefully it's a new sign of professionals at West Ham. I wouldn't count on it, but you just hope, don't you? You always live in hope.
We certainly do. We'll live in the KUMB Forum again in just a second, Rio, if we can. We'll just see what people are saying and what they're thinking about the second half. Before we do that, I'll just do the rounds quickly. Pinky, you know, a little bit of a lack of concentration there from the Hammers to start the half with.
Yeah, a little bit. They caught us a bit cold, but also you'd expect Brendan Rodgers to have fired his lads up a bit, you know.
Sure.
Probably with a speech along the lines of, look, guys, you know, if we're going to win the Champions League and the Domestic League and the FA Cup this year, you know, then we've got to start a bit better. It'll have been a modest speech of those, that sort of ilk. But, you know, nothing to be too worried about at this stage.
Oh, 48 minutes gone. Leicester City 0, West Ham United 2. Rio, let's jump into the forum and just see what people are thinking ahead of the second half.
Yeah, there's actually not much comment regarding the second half. The performance in the first was so positive, everyone's still on the praise bandwagon, which I'm not going to moan about, to be honest. Like the hand the dog put, it's funny, our left side used to scare me to death. Now I'm using it as foreplay. Hanshammer put, brilliant first half, everyone playing at their skins. Special mention to Kufel. Great start, a fullback and can defend. Have not seen one of them for a while. Still a long way to go, but the important first 15 minutes coming up. And also Swiss Tony, I'd like to say hello to, because he sits a couple of seats away from me at Upton Park. Sorry, the new ground. Slip of the tongue now. Creswell and Arthur working well along the left, with Fornell's able to drift a bit more. Kufel fitting out, he's been there for ages. I reckon Balbuena's given him plenty of instructions at how they seem to be moving at the same time, and Kufel is covered when pushing on. Ogbonna is being Ogbonna. Rice and Souček are both playing really well and protecting the centre-backs and supporting and assisting going forward. The front three are putting in the shift and working together well, also helping further back. Only Fabianski hasn't been doing much. Expects to be an outlet for the back line and switching play. Let's hope it stays that way. So hello, Swiss. Hope to see you again soon, mate.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Jumping into the YouTube chat very quickly. Hi, Jeff. Good to see you on the stream. Hope you're doing well. And Gavin McGrath says, if Pep or Jurgen were coaching this team, they'd be all over Masuaku for his decisions. That back pass was awful and holding on to the ball too long. Poor. Great coaches demand 100% concentration. So our first little criticism of the day really there. Paul Origi says, most of Leicester's goals come early in the second half. We need to keep it tight early. Echoing what the team were saying here. Gnome, we are just coming up to 5 minutes gone in the second half. Apart from that, you know, slight concern in the opening 45 seconds or so, we've done all right so far and kind of averted any danger.
Oh, Kufel's just put a cross in, found Antonio, couldn't get enough pace or direction on the header. Easy save for Schmeichel. Yeah, I was nice little dinked up cross, but it lacked the pace really for Antonio to be able to do much with it. And it was an easy save for Schmeichel. Yeah, I mean, in between that sort of almost near disaster, we had Barnes going down the left and almost getting across it. It looked like it had gone out for a goal kick. We cleared it for a corner. Nothing came of the corner, but at that point, I was beginning to sort of just raise a slight eyebrow of concern. But we're in possession now, and maybe we're just just a few minutes. We've had our sort of few minutes off. Nice feat from Antonio there, holding the ball up, and draws a foul, and it's in a promising position, halfway inside the Leicester half on our left-hand side. So let's see what we can do from this.
Okay, good stuff. 51 minutes gone. Leicester City 0, West Ham United 2. The goals coming in the first half in the 14th and 34th minute from Michael Antonio and Pablo Fornells, respectively. Pinky, we're looking all right so far. Doing okay out there this since the break.
Yeah. Oh, we're doing fine. I mean, you know, you wouldn't think that one of these teams was playing in the Champions League and the other team, you know, narrowly avoiding the championship last season on the basis of what we're seeing today. Very, very happy with what I'm
Sharks,
seeing
guys.
today. You know,
That
Yes.
free kick, Cresswell played it in. Fornals actually got onto the header, but let's just say the radar was off. It went out for a throw-in. But no, I mean, if that had been Souček on the end of that, perhaps, or Antonio, that might have been a bit more interesting.
Yeah, just actually just seeing that now. I mean, it's yeah, one of the worst headers I think you've ever seen. But got into a great position there, Rio, didn't he, Balbuena? And good stuff again for the Hammers. Again, looking well drilled.
Yeah, it's all promising. I can't fault anything. I mean, but that little blip in the first 25 seconds, but we've regrouped, we're composed, we're keeping our shape.
That's
I mean,
a
looking
yellow.
good.
No.
Ball played up to Antonio, who basically just beat Evans to it. No malice in the foul. It was just Antonio got there first, and Evans just sliced straight through. Free kick to West Ham. Yellow card for Evans. Nobody can complain at either of those results.
but this is what drives me mad. None, you know. I mean, because a centre back's done that, it's a nailed on yellow. The tackle from Vardy in the first half.
Yeah.
Was snidey, it was nasty, it was niggly, and he knew what he was doing. And this is where the refs, not having played the game at any sort of level, that they don't spot it and think, oh, that nice Jamie Vardy. You know,
Vardy got away with that because the first touch was on the ball, but what the referee didn't see, spot, or notice, which anybody who'd been playing the game at any level to a certain degree, was the follow through with the other leg.
Absolutely.
And that's the deliberate bit. And basically, as soon as he's touched the ball, the referee switches off, which is wrong.
The second.
And the difference in the flow of the game that makes, Jamie Vardy on a yellow with an hour of the game still to go, nullifies him to a certain extent. You know, but for the ref to have missed that is unforgivable. You know, the yellow card there for Johnny Evans. Actually, I'd almost forgive a centre back for that challenge. You know, in fact, if our centre back hadn't made that challenge, I'd substitute him.
We're about to see the first substitution of the game. Under the relatively new signing, his work permit seems to have come through. He's coming on for Amate, who's been taken off with some form of injury. I didn't see what happened there.
No, I was going to say, did anyone see what happened there? He we sort of went from the booking to Amate lying on the ground, sort of, seemingly injured.
No, they've not shown what happened. It may be muscular injury. Cresswell plays the free kick in. Ball's headed across. And it just took a touch. We should have been thinking about hitting that first time. Still got the ball. Bowen's out wide on the left. It's the Leicester player has it now. And it's gone out for a goal kick. It's one of those ones. Damn. Oh, Souček. Sorry, not Bowen. As you say, it went straight from replays of the free kick on Antonio to the next thing you know, he was dying there. I suspect it may have been a muscular thing or something that he pulled up with.
Yeah. We'll have to keep an eye on that one and see if what comes up. Tony Mitchell says Evans in with what in judo would be called a sacrifice throw. So fair enough. I think there. Gavin Mitchell pointing out 2-0 is the toughest lead in all sports, especially hockey. Paul Fury says the third goal at 2-0 was probably one of the most crucial goals in any team sport. And Mark English rightfully points out that Cresswell's crosses are on the money today. Been absolutely superb so far. So just pointing out 2 bookings for Leicester so far. Mendy booked in the 24th minute for going through the back of Pablo Fornals rather unnecessarily. Then Jamie Vardy should have been booked, but escaped a yellow card despite doing the same on our new signing Kufal. But Johnny Evans booked in the 53rd minute for that foul on Antonio. So Leicester with 2 key men sitting on a yellow. No?
Sorry, Masuaku, some good work there. Played it up to Antonio, who tried to play it inside, but couldn't quite get the ball he wanted. Leicester are building up on our left-hand side there, right. Cross comes in, and Vardy's tried to lay it off, but it's been cleared out. Need to be a little bit careful here. As I say, we just regroup a little bit. Kufal's done some good work down the right. Antonio's chasing the ball right deep in Leicester territory. He's onside. He's got the ball down by the byline. Plays the ball across. Oh, that really should have been 3. Fornals pulled the ball back for Fornals, who I think he got the shot away. I think Evans. I think I may be doing Fornals a disservice. Evans may have got a vital touch on that. I'm just looking at the replay now, but it's good work from Antonio. In fact, it was on target and it's come off Evans. Apologies, Fornals. Evans didn't know anything about it. Came off his thigh. Corner to West Ham. Good move there.
Good stuff. Pinky, do you want to take us through that corner?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Bowen lining up to swing the left peg. In the ball comes, goes to the far post. Souček nods it back into the middle. Leicester clear it now, and yeah, they're tearing upfield. All played left to, is that Vardy? No, it's not Vardy. It's the new lad under, and West Ham win the ball back comfortably. Ball played back now. West Ham in possession. Absolutely well tidied up by West Ham.
That was excellent defensive work from Kufal and Bowen combining there. Basically, they looked like it'd be a break on there, and Kufal got back superbly well. He didn't make the challenge, but the Leicester player had to cut back inside, and I think it was Bowen or Souček, one of the two, mopped it up nicely. But excellent work from Kufal there.
Hopefully, signs of a good partnership developing there between our two right-sided players, Kufal and Bowen. Bowen, of course, as we know, puts in tremendous work rate each and every game. Kufal is meant to have a fantastic engine on him, and we've certainly seen that so far today. It's Leicester City 0, West Ham United 2. We're approaching the hour mark. Everything looking good for David Moyes' side so far, Rio. I think we successfully navigated that dodgy 15-minute spell at the start of the second half that we were always so worried about.
It's just a terrifying last half hour now to navigate.
Played from Kufal.
We're looking good. I mean, we're creating chances still. We're looking solid. Again, I can't fault it. This is worrying for me that there's nothing there that I can actually put my finger on and go, we need to sort this out urgently. There is one comment on the forum though. Jack Cameron's put, looking at the bench, I'm not sure that I trust anyone to come in and have a positive impact, which is worrying. Jack, mate, please. We're turning you up. We're flying. Give it a rest.
Stay positive. It's uncharted waters for West Ham fans on this at the moment.
Antonio's on for this.
No.
Antonio's burst into the box. He's been forced out wide, holding the ball up well inside to Bowen. Bowen's played it square to right back to Antonio on the right, who's put the shot in, but it's straight at Schmeichel. I've got a slight concern at the way we're playing is that we do seem to be sitting back and inviting them onto us a little bit.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic ball, I think, from Cresswell, though, into the space for Antonio to get on, and they're just replaying now. I never like to see us sort of hanging back too much, because a number of times there we've tried to clear the ball and it's sort of come back at us, and you suddenly think, this is beginning to happen. So just a slight sort of note of concern in the voice at the moment. But
okay.
Kufal's having a really superb game. Leicester have given the ball away to Antonio, so Fornals burst forward now. Ball played through to Bowen. Squares the ball, but it's behind everyone. Oh, that would have been worth a shot, Bowen. I know it was a tight angle, but nobody was doing everybody had run in and nobody had hung back. Chance went begging there.
All right, good stuff, good stuff. Props there, I think, Pinky, to Aaron Cresswell, just going back a few moments. That 60-yard long crossfield pass to Michail Antonio, absolutely on the nail.
Very, very much so. And again, you see who then was tearing forward in support of that particular attack. Fornals on the far side, but on the near side, Kufal had made almost a full length of the pitch to get up in support of that. And then, you know, a few seconds later, he's back defending. He most definitely has an engine that is valuable. Dare I say it, on the strength of what, an hour's football, he looks an outstanding signing already. He really does. So hats off. I mean, if he really is a recommendation from Souček, I think Souček should pull in a scout salary as well as a player salary.
Yeah, of course.
Can I just interject here?
Rio,
Yeah.
over to you.
One of our mod pods a few weeks back, one of the last ones we did, when we said about recommended signings. And there's a bit of chat about Kufal, and I did a bit of research on him, and I said he was the right back I'd like to get in. Not only value-wise, but the ability as well. He's playing out a little bit out of position. He's only played, I think, right wing back once before, isn't he? We was doing a bit of research in a week. And
Leicester are about to make a second substitution as a free kick comes in, and Bonner's on the end of that. Partial clearance. It's out on our left-hand side of our box with under. Leicester are obviously chasing the game a bit, and they're pushing on us, but we're remaining resolute. But we've got to be careful here.
Good stuff. Okay, let's just cut back. Rio, you were saying about Kufal there. A great shout, in fact.
Yeah, no, I just thought when his name got mentioned in the press a few months back, I thought I'd do a little bit of research about him, and he seemed to have every single attribute that we needed.
Yeah.
And like we said today, he's not really played right wing back, I don't think. I think he's played once for the Czech national side.
Yeah.
Normally in Slavia, he played in the flat back four. But he's excelled today.
Yeah.
So much so that if you look at Pinky's mug, he's straight on the old merchandise thing with the number 5 shirt on there.
Yes.
Dare I say it?
Oh,
In my lineup, the great Alvin Martin, the great Billy Bonds. Not in the same kind of category of greatness, but Mark Noble, Alan Devonshire. And you'll notice Sir Trevor Brooking is conspicuous by his absence. I picked myself at number 10 there. Bit conceited, but, you know, I felt good that day.
Leicester made a substitution. Ian Archer is on for Perez. That looked to be a Leicester promising move down there, right, our left, but it was in fact offside. It's one of these things where the linesman sticks his flag up half an hour later, pending what happens with it. So free kick, deep in territory, and it's Fabianski's taking it. So
60. Where are we? We're just coming up to 64.5 minutes gone. It's Leicester City 0, West Ham United 2. The Hammers on course for I was going to say unexpected 3 points, but it wasn't in here. You know, we've Pinky, of course, and Gnome felt we were going to get something here today. Myself and Rio, not quite on the ball, expecting a defeat, but maybe that's just the fact that we've been West Ham United supporters for so long, and you know.
Free kick here, Graham.
No.
On the left-hand touchline.
Yep.
And
for
Dummies, Cresswell sends the ball in, and I think that was Balbuena getting on the end of it, and but headed wide. I think Balbuena's getting on the end of these because they're obviously aware of Antonio and Souček, so all their resources are being concentrated on defending them. Unfortunately, Balbuena, excuse me, hasn't quite got the attacking prowess in the air up front at the moment, I think.
I've got to say, I think we've had some fantastic performances so far. I think Balbuena has been absolutely immense out there today so far, and been, you know, looked good at
both.
Looks good at both ends of the field. No?
So it's nearly an interesting ball. Some great work by Bowen to feed Kufal, who played a teasingly curling ball inside in behind the defence, but it was just a little bit too close to the keeper.
Balbuena, of course, involved again just there.
I think there's an element of revenge just been exacted on Balbuena. Fornals has just taken him out, of all people.
Great tackle, Pablo. Great tackle, son. Oh, yeah. I mean, slightly mistimed because He didn't kick him nearly hard enough. Have that, Vardy. Well, actually, no. I've just seen the replay there. Vardy has left his leg in, deliberately trailing to win a free kick there. You know, that, for my money, not a yellow card. Poorly executed foul by Pablo, actually. You know, nice idea, but he didn't quite pull it off. But Vardy got the free kick nonetheless.
It's slightly late, wasn't it, from 4-0? I guess in those situations you're always going to get a card, but you know, we come back to the Vardy foul in the first half. Was it any worse in terms of, you know, the intent or the lateness of the challenge? Who knows? But with Vardy rolling around, you know, hands to face and all that, I suppose you're always going to get a yellow card there. Regardless, Pinky, let's have a quick chat about our. We haven't said an awful lot about the two in the middle so far today in terms of Declan Rice and Souček. Souček's put some brilliant little challenges in, nicked the ball off, you know, broken up attacks. Rice also doing an awful lot of work, perhaps not quite as noticeable so far, but those two are, you know, as far as our engine room goes, they're doing a fabulous job out there today, the pair of them.
Very much so. And you know, when people talk about having a balanced team and what have you, this is what we're on about. It allows the central players to do the jobs they're supposed to do because they're not getting pulled all over the place, sweeping up behind players on either flank that aren't equipped to do what they're supposed to do. Which is why, you know, signing the likes of Kufal the way we have, you know, is building a jigsaw bit by bit. And yeah, all the way through this now, Gnome touched on Balbrena there in the attacking headers sense from a free kick, because they'd know all about Souček and as an aerial threat, and Antonio. The fact that we've now actually got a squad where the manager can develop different options for different circumstances.
What a great tackle.
Far less predictable, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, very much so. No,
we've just seen Masuaku had a volley saved by Schmeichel, who for the first time. Ref. Sorry, he's cleared it long, and the challenge that went in on Cresswell was a foot chest high. The ball, nothing was given. The ball went out, and Declan Rice put in a superb tackle to break up play. But that was chest high with his feet. Come on, ref.
Come on, referee. Sort yourself out there, lad. Yeah, we've seen one or two sort of perhaps go to Leicester that might otherwise gone the other way. But anyway, one thing I did want to point out there quickly, Rio, we seem to have a new weapon that we've discovered. We have a right back who has an enormous throw-in. We've just saw Kufal hurl one into the box to the penalty spot from out wide. That could be handy.
Yeah. I was just about to mention that.
Okay.
The only one we used to have was Antonio.
Of course, you won him in the box.
With the accuracy of yeah. And so used to actually like try and chase it afterwards. But yeah, no, it's a very useful weapon.
Yeah.
So it could this signing could be incredibly astute. When somebody can play right back, it looks pretty adept at right wing back at the moment. A little bit of a throw in, so we can exploit the use of like Souček, Antonio, and a couple of the centre backs. Yeah, this target at the moment, Mr. Kufal.
Fantastic. Just adding on what we were saying there about our midfield, our engine room there. Dasnut Knock saying that Rice and Souček are a proper central midfield pairing. Tall, fast, strong, good technique, passing, running the lot. And also saying that Souček has been magnificent today. Gavin McGraw, our aerial game is undoubtedly top 6 in the league. Fantastic at both ends. Steve Page, who of course is our host for KUMB Mastermind, which will be returning to your screens this week. Says, hey guys, I'd like to retract my previous comment about us not scoring. Given my exceptional ability to call it, and because another goal would be nice, I'll say that I can't see us scoring again. Let's hope you're right, or should I say wrong, Steve? Rio.
Yeah, no, just going a couple of comments on the forum.
Okay.
I was actually waving to Steve there because don't get to see him that often as well, you know. But,
sorry, I thought you wanted to come in there, but anyway, we'll come to you anyway.
Oh yeah, I've got a couple of comments. Don't worry about it. Yeah, look. Classic Grove Pete put still feel we need a third to be sure next goal wins, which I think is a little bit of it's not a negative comment, to be honest. from Junco partner. We've been causing them all sorts of problems at the back. Big Mike and Bona run them ragged. Another goal should see us home and dry, but Tynus will come in for both the amount of chasing they do.
Go on, Declan.
Oh, he's hit the bar.
Declan Rice storming run from defence all the way through at the box, got the shot in, came off the bar. It was one of those ones where he had options, but they were taking players away from him, and intelligently he used the gap. He picked up the ball 15 yards inside his own half. He just keeps going. He's looking up. Then he sees the gap. He gets forced slightly wide, but unlucky son.
We spoke about the third goal being important. Pinky, we were so close to seeing it there.
Yeah, very much so. And, you know, it just shows the value of running hard, fast and straight. Corners come in there now. And, yeah, ref's given a goal kick to Leicester. But, you know, well played by Declan Rice there. Yeah, and very unlucky not to grab the third. But overall, the work rate of our team today has been incredible. I mean, just, you know, we bang on about it week after week after week. But if you work hard in the opposition, you'll get more chances in the opposition. And Leicester today, I'm struggling to think, and you know, dare I say it, have they really had a clean-cut chance?
Well, they haven't had a shot on target yet. I can tell you that much. They've only had 2 shots so far.
Say that one in the early minutes of the second half, where as they go down the left now, they got the ball to the byline, but it was nicely cut out. Fofana, who was the second substitute.
Yeah, the new man coming on.
Yeah, so I didn't see Fofana coming on there. Actually, I don't know when that happened. I missed that. So.
Yeah, I just want to know. I was actually going to say there that Rice run. Well, it was slightly reminiscent to the. Do you remember that Paul Ince goal at Villa Park that day where he just ran and then slammed it into the back of the net? Kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
It reminded me a little bit, as far as we had a similar result in that it was no goal. Was in the late in the game against away at Spurs at their new stadium as such, where Diop brought the ball out, and just couldn't get the shot away at the end, a decent shot away at the end, which we were already rather happy at that point. If it were already 1-0 up, that would have been the icing, as they say. Yeah,
very much so. We've talked about substitutions. We're now 74 minutes into the game, Pinky, where still no changes for West Ham. Do you see anything happening, or could this be yet another game where we play the full 90 without making any?
I'd very much be inclined to leave alone at the minute. Maybe a couple in the last minute or so just to run the clock down. But the question is, does the manager have better options on the bench than what he's got on the pitch?
Yeah,
and I'm not sure he does. So for me, 2-0 up, leave it well alone at this point in time.
Rio, were you inclined to agree with that, or do you think we should perhaps freshen it up and put some additional fresh legs out there for the last 10 minutes or so?
I'd be inclined to wait another 5 or so minutes because it's all right, all dynamic to take into consideration tiredness and work rate, but the players at a disposal, as Pinky said, are they the right players to come in and slot in and do the job? We all know Anderson has got ability flying out of his ear rolls, but he hasn't got the work rate that we require.
Possibly not the right player.
Yeah, it's all right players at the wrong time for me. Yeah, I think the only one I really might even consider is Helia and bring him on, give Mike a bit of a rest. But even then, I'll wait another 5 minutes or so, trying to weather the storm a little bit more.
Well, we've got the international break now, haven't we, as well? So, it's not as if we're running players into the ground. Most of them are going to get a fortnight off as it is.
Yeah.
Yep. Very, very good point. Gnome, do you go along with the guys there as far as the substitutions are concerned?
Unless anybody really is visibly tiring and wilting. I haven't seen any signs of that now. As Leicester break into the box, but Cresswell's aware, puts the ball away from a corner. Some good covering there from Cresswell. I don't see anybody sort of desperately catching breath at the moment or anything like that. Yeah, ain't broke, don't fix it. Corner comes in, played out towards the edge of 6-yard box. It's gone out to Barnes, who's got to the byline, but its cross is cut out. Leicester sort of having a bit of pressure here, but the ball back in is a poor one, and it's cleared out for a Leicester throw, 10 yards inside our half on our right-hand side.
Just looking at the bench, what who we've got out there personnel wise, in goal, a substitute goalkeeper Randolph. Then we have Ben Johnson, Mark Noble, and then a host of attacking players in Yarmolenko, Anderson, Lanzini, Sebastian Haller. Probably not, as been pointed out by the team, the kind of players you need to throw into, consolidate on a 2-0 lead with 10 minutes of the match remaining. Great. It's been a fantastic game so far for West Ham. We're 77 minutes in. Leicester City 0, West Ham United 2. Leicester, of course, as we said, previously unbeaten this season, 9 points out of 9, scored 12 goals in their opening 3 games. Today, they've not even seen a sight of goal, really. They've had 3 shots. They haven't had a shot on target yet, nearly 80 minutes in. West Ham, conversely, 13 shots, 5 on target, 2 goals, almost 3. Declan Rice also hitting the bar with a tremendous shot just a few moments ago that crashed off the crossbar. Possession-wise, Leicester have pretty much controlled the game with 67% to West Ham's 33. But David Moyes' side have done an absolutely fantastic job, Pinky, in terms of working to nullify any space or opportunity for Leicester. A really incredibly high standard performance from the Hammers so far in terms of, that work rate. We haven't really seen this before, have we?
Well, I think we probably did against Wolves, but you've got to credit the players out there today. They have worked like absolute Trojans.
Yeah.
For 78 minutes now.
Bowen.
Yeah, they've kept a decent Leicester side at bay. We look like we could have scored 3 or 4. They don't look like they could have scored more than 1, and they haven't even done that. Great team performance, absolutely superb team performance from us. But I have to say, we've got 11 players that can do this. We need at least 15, probably 18 that can do this. And, here we are, 2 days away from the end of the transfer window, effectively. And we need more bodies in, and the manager is not being supported properly. What more does David Moyes have to do to convince the chairman he can trust him with a few more quid? Because where's he wasted any money? So for me, if our chairman is serious about wanting to compete in this league, he has to find the money and back the manager.
Kufal's
nearly
just
got his
picked up
shorts
yellow,
up in
by
there.
the way.
Yeah, they do that in southwest London, apparently, in Barnes.
Kufal's just picked up a yellow for trying to debag a player. He's just trying to pull him back by the shorts. Deserved yellow. As the ball comes in, it's cleared again, and Kufal heads away. What I would say is that a few seconds ago, went burst into the box, threw
Shocking.
himself to the floor, and it was just embarrassing. And something that's it. I mean, I guess the referee was too embarrassed to pull out the yellow card that was deserved for that dive. And Leicester trying to break into the box, but run into traffic. And Antonio's just been held back trying to run off on the ball. Nothing given. Come on, referee, keep an eye on this.
I've got to say, Gnome, that yellow card for Kufal is one of the funniest things I've seen for a long time on a football pitch.
He's trying to debag him in some sort of public school ritual.
It's almost like the thing they used to do at school. What did they call that when you wedging type thing? It's like, you're not going anywhere, so I'm gonna pull your shorts right up your backside. I think, Pinky, that's what you call taking one for the team, right?
Absolutely, and and so he should.
Yeah.
Rice is breaking forward again here now, feeds the ball left. But what really strikes me about today's performance and the game against Wolves last week.
Antonio's in here. Oh, he should have scored. Masuaku found Antonio. Oh, he's given the offside anyway. So nothing really, but he was just offside, but it's a nice ball in between the 2 defenders. Antonio quite rightly played on, and again, it was one of these late flag jobs, but he hit it straight at Schmeichel. I'd like to have seen him bury that just in case, but it wouldn't have been given.
81.5 minutes gone. West Ham United leading here at the King Power Stadium by 2-0. Leicester pretty much clueless so far. Don't seem to have any answer to West Ham's resolute defending. And as Gnome says, Michail Antonio put through there and a real chance to make it 3. And we've had a few, haven't we, Rio, this half? It's been a good performance from the Hammers again, second half.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I mean, despite the fact we're sitting on a 2-0 lead, and we've seen in the past so many times, we sit back and try and defend it. We kept coming. We not only kept coming, we kept coming with purpose.
Yeah.
And we could have had a 3 or 4 more. Yeah, it's exactly like last week, isn't it? We
Very
put
much,
4 past Wolves, and you couldn't have argued if we scored 6 or 7. Today is virtually the same. If you Declan hit the bar, Antonio's had 2 1-on-1s, Fornell's had a chance. We could have had 5 here easy. And this is a
Superb from Rice there. Fornells is bursting forward. Ball played through in between. Bowen's 1-on-1 with Schmeichel.
Yes!
Get in there.
It's 3-0. Leicester City 0, West Ham United 3. Pinky, talk us through it.
I mean, absolutely brilliant work by Gerard Bowen there, because he held his run, he made sure he didn't drift offside, and beautifully timed pass and weighted pass through. And Bowen, he doesn't miss those. This is a consummate performance by West Ham United. 4 against Wolves, 3 against Leicester City. And, let's not forget, both those teams are in European competitions this season. And for us, since Project Restart, we're now banging in 2 goals every single game on average. So boring Moisey, I don't think so. Great finish by Bowen. Absolutely wonderful.
And no.
Billy
No,
Dino,
yeah.
are you watching? What does he do? Look at that pass through there, son. Yeah. Sorry, Billy, but you've got to acknowledge he's doing well for us.
Gnome, talk to me about that through ball from Fornells. What a wonderfool pass that was. Put it on the sixpence, as they say.
Good football from start to finish. I'd like to go one step back, actually.
Yeah.
And Leicester attack broke down, and it ended up at the feet of Rice, who put his foot in the ball, just turned inside and left the Leicester player unable to block him, and then played it out to Fornells. That's where it started. It was a lovely little shimmy and turn from Rice. Fornells, it's just perfect football. Fornells burst through, as Pinky so rightly said, would have been very easy for Bowen to have strayed offside. And as I say, in fact, a Leicester defender did actually start to step, but Bowen held his run. And lovely, cool, calm, composed finish. And perfect counter-attack football, that.
Wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't take the smile off my face. I'm sure there's plenty of Hammers out there who feel exactly the same, Rio. What a wonderful goal that was. And 3 brilliant goals so far.
It's absolutely exquisite football, isn't it? This is what we've been crying out for years. The side that can come out and take away from home with pace and precision. That ball from Fornells was just inch perfect. And Gerard Bowen, let's not forget, so this time last year was treading water in the Championship with a really striking Hull side. It was a shining light there. We've rescued him. He looks every inch the Premiership player. That finish was absolutely sublime. The
Top
move
class.
was sublime.
Top class.
This is like West Ham that we all dream of at times. I can't say any praise higher than that. The football we've played today has been absolutely amazing. We're not dominating possession, but when we have had it, we've used it with intent, purpose, pace, precision, and we've executed everything to a T. David Moyes, I'd like to raise a toast to you. Thank you.
The only thing, if we're talking negatively, I think that the person who might be smiling most tonight, Pinky, could be our co-chairman, whose hand has just come back out of his pocket while he's been watching this game.
Well, you look at this now, and we're about to make a couple of subs, by the way. Leicester take a corner kick. Breaks down. They're still in possession, Leicester. Hang on, just stay with me here now.
Sure.
Again, the general steps in, wins the ball, feeds it through to, I think it was Bowen that tore up. Passed it to Antonio, but Antonio's a bit tired. But we're going to make a substitution now. and I suspect it'll be Antonio off for Haller, and Noble's going to come on. Not sure who for, if I'm being honest. So let's just see what the changes are.
Do we think anyone will be complaining about the manager not making substitutions today? I suspect not, or at least to the last minute anyway.
Bowen going off for Noble, Haller coming on for Antonio, and Antonio's out on his feet again. You know, in the last sort of 5-10 minutes, he has looked tired. At the end of the day, you know, you can't fault this performance. 3-0 away from home, and the contrast with a year ago, the disorganised rabble would become in the fag end of the Manuel Pellegrini era, to a team performance today where every single player has known their job inside out, understood the game plan, executed it to a T. The contrast is immense. And yet we still get David Moyes getting criticism that is, I don't think is fair. Pellegrini's reputation hasn't been trashed in the way I think, frankly, it should be. He was an awful manager in hindsight for West Ham United, wasted a lot of money, but Moyes looks like he's repaired the damage on this performance.
Gnome, thank you, Pinky. Gnome, what does this do in terms of the Premier League? And, you know, you talk about shockwaves and things like that. Do you think the rest of the league will just put this down as a bad day for Leicester? Or do people now start looking at West Ham and saying, hang on a minute, they destroyed Wolves last week. They've absolutely destroyed Leicester today. And these are two teams that, outside of the established top 4 or 5, are very, very highly rated. And we've smashed both off the park in the last 7 days, haven't we?
I think it'd be very unfair of us if everyone said, oh, it's a Leicester off day, because Leicester have had an off day because we haven't allowed them to have an on day.
Agreed, but you know what the media's like in terms of West Ham. That's my point.
Yeah, I'd like to hope somebody will write, and part of the story will be West Ham continue to improve. There'll be a lot more of that. We can't control what they write. They'll write what they want. But as Leicester cutting into the box, there's a slight offside there, so we can breathe again. I think any comment to that effect, where it's Leicester have off day, whatever, I think will be doing us an immense disservice. BT have just given the man the match to Ogbonna.
Okay.
One of a number of. I mean, he's had a superb game. Can't really argue with it, but I think there are a number of other players who would also been up for that. But no, we played superb.
Yeah.
We're first to criticise when we're not, and we'll moan because it's our club sort of thing. But credit to his due. Oh, Vardy's through 1-on-1, and he's put it wide. And he's just kicking
that, Vardy. Get off, you rubbish son.
Pinky slightly deserved there, given that what we saw earlier on from Vardy and the gamesmanship and that. We're not going to be crying for him tonight, are we?
That's karma for you. I mean, to be fair, that's the move Leicester have wanted to play all afternoon.
Yeah,
sniff it inside Balbuena. And that would be vintage Leicester City, what we've just seen there, except Vardy normally scores. But no one likes to see that, do they?
He's kicked away one of the spare balls in total frustration. And we shouldn't laugh. Yes, we should. We should laugh our socks off.
It's the first time, isn't it, that we've seen our defence breached, really. And I guess when you're 3-0 up in the 90th minute, Rio, you can forgive the team for switching off momentarily, can't you?
Yeah, well, especially in the circumstances. I think Fabianski did very well, though. He didn't get straight to him, but he made him massive. He did incredibly well. And he's not had a lot to do today, has he? So going back to your Bonner thing.
Yes.
Mentioned on the forum about page 17 by KRC that he's had an imperious game, man of the match. And yet none of us four have mentioned him today at all.
No, true.
Not his name, which is a sign of, don't know, it's how composed and relaxed he's been, really, or Bonner. I mean, he's got called up to the Italy squad again this week, hasn't he? over his form for us for the last 15 months is more than deserved. So I'd like to raise my hat to him as well, because he's been solidly, quietly effective, and he's marshalled our back 4 or 5 today immensely. So can't fault that. Can't fault that at all.
I think it's a sign, isn't it, of just how well we've played today, Gnome, that we haven't mentioned the player that the TV company have named as man of the match. We've talked about the new man Kufal being exceptional. Antonio's running socks off. Bowen, brilliant. Aaron Cresswell, of course, 2 great assists. 4 nails has been exceptional as well. Balbuena, brilliant. All through the team. But there you go. So great stuff. Great stuff for West Ham.
We've played, and as we used to say, from 1 to 11. It's been a great team unit performance. It's people know their jobs, as Leicester are all playing one. Leicester have pulled one back.
Okay.
It's a nice goal. Quick, incisive 1-2s, and Barnes finished it off. But with 35 seconds of stoppage time left, let's just have a quick look. It's played in. Barnes plays in. He receives it back. No offside. There are a couple of hands went off for offside, but no offsides. It's a good goal. But we've got our feet up, really, obviously.
Yeah, it's a shame, I guess, Pinky, to concede one at the end. The only sort of black mark on an otherwise fantastic day for West Ham. But as Gnome says, it doesn't really matter now, does it?
Well, no. I mean, it's always nice to keep a clean sheet and all that, but and that effectively drops us from 7th down to 8th. But we'd take that. I mean, let's not forget, in these fixtures last season, I think the first 7 league games, we got 0 points. It was like a Eurovision score. They're just checking the offside here now for the.
Is
it Vardy they're checking? Rather than Barnes?
It's somebody's backside or part of their calf muscle offside. It's one of these ludicrous ones. It's been given offside. Oh, it's really not your day, is it, Vardy?
VAR.
Could it go any better for West Ham today? West Ham back up to 7th in the Premier League.
Oh.
Fantastic stuff. It's still Leicester City 0, West Ham United 3. And get this, gentlemen, that means that Leicester City are still without a shot on target in the entire match. Rio, what about that?
Yeah, take that, Jamie. Just take that, stick it right up your thigh.
And it is literally
He's way offside. Yeah. Shows you're having a big arse. Get off the pitch.
Don't come at me. Don't come at me for 5 minutes.
Unbelievable stuff at the King Power Stadium. Leicester thought they'd got one back, but oh no, the goal given off, cancelled out by VAR because of Jamie Vardy's backside. Incredible stuff. And I think that's pretty. Is that it? I think we're over now, aren't we?
We're still playing because
because of that VAR decision.
Just this second gone. Well played, superb performance. What do you say? Perfect, absolutely perfect. Randolph's just slapping Antonio over the head with his gloves, and absolutely brilliant. You really, really cannot fault that. Well played. Just well played.
Brilliant stuff. I must just apologise briefly on behalf of the KUMB team for the euphoria and silliness that we've just expressed over the last 2 minutes following that goal. But normal service has been resumed now. As Gnome says, brilliant, fantastic day for West Ham. The final whistle called on 94 minutes and 43 seconds. Pinky, Leicester City 0. Leicester City, no shots on target. West Ham United with 14 shots and no less than 6 on target. 3. What a day for David Moyes and West Ham.
If it had been a boxing match, they'd have stopped it after half an hour. I mean, at the end of the day, we've battered Leicester City. We've absolutely battered them today. And that's a decent Leicester team. Make no mistake. They'll be in the right half of the table come May. And we've put in a really good professional performance there today with every player knowing their job, every player following the game plan and doing well. We took our chances. Let's not forget Declan Rice hit the bar. We could have had 1 or 2 other goals as well. You know, at a 4 or 5-0 result would not have flattered us today. That's how good we were. And for us, that's a 7th spot in the league. And, you know, the opening 7 fixtures last year, 0 points. Thus far this season, we've got 6 points from them. That's not bad. That's an improvement. So I'll take that. Good day for West Ham.
A tremendous day for West Ham. Rio, you know, Pinky called it. Let's of course give credit where it's due. And Gnome said he felt we would take something today. You and I are not quite as confident, but I think we're quite as happy, aren't we, at what we've seen over the last 97 or 98 minutes or so?
I'm absolutely ecstatic, to be honest. It's the consummate away performance from West Ham, which we very, very rarely accomplish. We've gone up to was it a Champions League chasing team? And we've absolutely mugged them off. We've played them at their own game. We've hit on the counter. We've finished with exemplary perfection. We've scored some exquisite goals. We've worked our nuts off. It's all you can ask for. For me, this is one of the best West Ham performances I've seen probably about 2 or 3 years by far. And I can't say any higher praise than that. As Pinky said, that given the tools at his disposal and the money at his disposal, he's building a side and a squad here. Well, I actually say a side, the money's not there for a squad at the moment. He's building a side which works its nuts off. It's got ability, it's got passion, pride, organisation, and we're looking at a decent side now. We just need supplementing in some ways, you know? We can't rely on these core group of 13 or 14 players to get us through the whole season. But while these lot are on the pitch, we look a very, very good proposition indeed.
Yeah, we certainly did today, as Pinky pointed out some moments ago. One of the best West Ham performances away from home in the last couple of years, if not the best performance. I'm thinking about when you said that, Pinky, and struggling to think of a game, and possibly even beyond that. You know, we've had some good wins on the road. But to put in that kind of performance, you know, we didn't just score 3 goals. It was the fact that we completely, as I said earlier, nullified Leicester's attack. Let's not forget, this is a Leicester City team that has started the season with a 100% record, winning 3 out of 3. This is a Leicester City team that scored 12 goals in those 3 games and enjoyed countless more chances. This is a Leicester City team that went to Manchester City last weekend and put 5 past a Pep Guardiola team. And this is a Leicester City team that has faced West Ham United today and not managed to create a single shot on target. Obviously, forgetting the goal that was the effort that was disallowed at the end there. You know, you look back to some great away days. I'm thinking Wigan, perhaps in that run in 2006, 2007, when Tevez scored, and you know we won 3-0 that day and looked fantastic. But I really can't. I'm struggling to think of a game where we've played so well. Everything has just clicked, from the goalkeeper having a good performance, the back four looking exceptional and cohesive, the centre of the park, Fornals, Rice, Souček, absolutely working their socks off, closing everything down, and you know, the guys up front looking just so dangerous throughout. And of course, to cap it all, the new man, Kufal, coming in and looking like he'd been playing in the Premier League for years.
Yeah, I'd say probably our best away performance since we absolutely thrashed Liverpool at Anfield in...
That's the one, yeah.
2016. Yeah. The 3-0 win up there. And, you know, and that, you know, because since then, a couple of weeks after that game, we had a good day away at Man City as well, which is more of an Alamo kind of win, you know, where they battered us, but we nicked the points. Today was an absolute commanding performance by our lads. You know, Leicester are a good team. You know, let's not forget that they are a good team, and a team that is confident enough to be able to sell a player for £50 million to another rival, and think, yeah, we can get away with it, and we'll still be an okay side. We've totally dominated in terms of what really matters, which is goals today. You know, 3 for us, none for them, and I stress, it could have been 4, it could have been 5. You know, I mean, Rice's run up the middle, it deserved a goal. You know, it absolutely deserved a goal. So for my money, if we can keep this 11 fit and on the pitch, you know, let's say to the middle of December, and then go again in the January window and try and get some reinforcements in then, because I generally don't see much quality arriving between now and 5 o'clock tomorrow night.
Yeah.
At least then we should be in the right half of the table and maybe spending money to try and, you know, reach the elusive so-called next level. But you can't fault what we've seen today, and you can't fault what we saw last weekend. The bit in the middle between those, away at Everton at Goodison Park in the week, well, there's the fly in the ointment. It's when you haven't got this 11 on the field.
Yeah.
We look altogether less strong. And that kind of tells me with 3 or 4 really good players short, but of course, we're stuck with 3 or 4 players who aren't quite good enough, who we clearly overpaid for and are now struggling to shift, either because we want too much money for them, or, as I suspect is the case, the salaries we're paying 1 or 2 of them, other clubs are looking at and going, well, if he's not worth 120 grand a week to you, why would he be worth 120 grand a week to us?
Sure.
And that really is our problem here now. But the good news is wins like this that mean come March, April, we're not going to be in the wrong half of the table. I don't see us sweating on results at, you know, West Brom and things like that. So good stuff today. You have to credit the manager. And I'm not sure we've even sent him best wishes today. So, Mr. Moyes, if you're tuning in at all, get well soon. But everyone's done you proud there today, no doubt about it.
Here. Well said, Pinky. Of course, it gets harder for West Ham, Gnome, in the next couple of weeks, because you know we've had some tough games, and we were all concerned about the start of the season. As we said in the corresponding games last year, we didn't pick up a point from our first 7 opponents. Tottenham away next week, which should be an absolute cracker, given the form that West Ham are showing in the Premier League at the moment. Then, of course, it's Manchester City at home. Who knows? Leicester stuffed them last week, and we've just stuffed Leicester. Of course, football, unfortunately, doesn't work like that. And then it's a trip to Anfield before the fixtures, you know, on paper, which is, you know, of course, as we always say, football isn't played on paper, but do seem to get a little bit easier. Should we look at let's look at our man of the match suggestions, because we've seen Ogbonna given the accolade by the TV company, but I wonder what we all think here. No, I'll come to you first of all. What do you think about man of the match? Who really, say everyone stood out today, but is there anyone who kind of picked everyone? Someone else?
I wouldn't really argue with Ogbonna, but I would have said Kufal must have run in very close, because to come in, you've had 5 minutes training, you probably still don't know 7 or 8 of the names of the people you're playing on that pitch with.
Yeah.
And come in and have an assured performance like that, and bonus points for the comedy yellow card as well. So I mean, maybe it wasn't outstandingly the best performance on the pitch, but given the circumstances and put into context, it was far better a performance I think any of us had any real right to expect from him.
Absolutely.
And thing is, I mean, Pinky's quite rightly said we need a bit of depth, we need a bit of backup to that 11. Is anybody going anywhere near Prague over the next 24 hours?
Yes.
They seem to have some sort of a stock of remarkably inexpensive but actually very good players that don't seem to have got onto anybody else's radar.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Actually, they've, both those guys have come in and done exceptionally well, haven't they? Thanks, Gnome. Rio, man of the match for you today? If you had to pick one.
it's hard to call. I think you could pick anyone from about 8, really. If I was going to give it to anybody, I'd probably give it to Fornells, to be honest, because his work rate was exemplary for a man who's considered a luxury number 10 at times. He gets through some absolute yards and a half. And today, the goal was amazing because what a bit of amazing control, wasn't it? You know, the ball was virtually on the half bounce. Managed to get it under control. Brilliant finish. The ball for the last goal for Bowen, absolute pinpoint. He just does a lot. He doesn't get the credit he deserves. And he works his nuts off. For a number 10, who, as I said, is sometimes seen as a luxury player, bit of a throwaway at times. When the chips are down, you don't expect them to come up trumps for the work rate, the effort, the hard yards, the ability. He's come up trumps today, and he's made his contemporary, Harvey Barnes, who's just been corrupting England squad. He's made him look like a bit of a mug today, to be honest. So I'll probably go with Fornells.
Brilliant, great stuff. So Gnome's going for Kufal, Rio for Fornells. Pinky, how about yourself?
Fornells for me. You know, the energy he's brought to the team, his work rate, the fact that he is applying himself and doing the job that the manager's asked him to do clearly, and putting in huge efforts. I mean, real lung-busting runs all afternoon. I think he's had a very good couple of weeks with us, but it could have been one of 4 or 5 today. Yeah. You know, BT are just doing a little show reel on Antonio, and you see what he's done today. You could have picked out Ogbonna, as the commentators have done. You could have picked out Cresswell today, who's had a very good match. You know, so a number of them have really performed well. The new lad, Kufal, on the other side, you know, basically he's just got off the bus. And there you go. Suddenly you're playing against Leicester City, who were champions a couple of years ago. And he's not looked out of place at all. So, yeah, absolutely. I'm delighted. But Fornells is my man. I think he's a lovely little player. And there you go. I've criticised Manuel Pellegrini 10 minutes ago. I'll give him some praise now. Of all the signings we made in the Pellegrini era, Fornells, the much criticised because of his £24 million fee, he actually looks like the one that's going to be a Premier League player and stick at it and do the job. So Pablo's my man of the match today.
Great stuff. So that's Kufal for Gnome and Fornells for Rio and Pinky. I think I'm going to go with someone, Pinky, that you mentioned there. Someone who's often underrated and has been really heavily criticised. A lot of people said that he's gone. He's no longer a Premier League player. His legs have gone. He's too old. He's been moved from left back into the left side of central defence. He's created 2 assists today. His work rate has been brilliant. I don't think he's given anybody a chance. I didn't really put a foot wrong. I like Balbuena. I thought Balbuena, given that, again, a similar sort of thing to Kufal, the situation that he's been thrust into, with Diop injured, he's been brought back into the first team. Probably wasn't expecting it. Did a really, really good job today. But for me, I think I'm going to go with Cresswell as man of the match because I just thought he was absolutely brilliant today. Oh, anyone in that team. The only one I thought was probably a little bit quiet was Arthur Masuaku, who didn't sort of really get the opportunity to break down the left flank an awful lot today. But we don't know. Again, maybe that's under instruction. Maybe he was told to, cover Cresswell as much as possible and leave that to Bowen on the right, because we certainly profited on that side of the flank. Souček again, another one, absolutely fantastic today. Work rate was brilliant. He was nipping in to break up Leicester attacks and winning tackles here and there, putting in some big challenges. He's a great player, and Antonio, of course, was Antonio. Basically, put himself about an awful lot. Did really, really well. Bowen, we were saying a couple of weeks ago he's only scored 1 goal since he came to West Ham, and all of a sudden, he's on 4 goals. And the finish today was absolutely world class. You can talk about top class, Premier League class. It was a world class finish. Just waited for the keeper to go and tucked it under him. But yeah, for me, it's just about Cresswell, I think, and due recognition, to everybody else who was out there today. Rio, shall we have a look at the KUMB Forum? I should imagine everyone's going. There was one post that a couple of posts, a couple of pages back that I'll point out just in case you've missed it, and it deserves to be read. Long shot said Gary Lineker, Emil Heskey, Engelbert Humperdinck, the king of Thailand, cheese and onion crisps. Your boys took one hell of a beating. Love that. Rio, what's everyone else saying on the forum?
Yeah, I'm actually struggling with my connection at the moment. I did pick out a few things from earlier though, which I've been on the back burner for a few minutes or so. John pointing out a tweet from Up to Joe. After no assists in 36 Premier League appearances, Aaron Cresswell has provided 2 against Leicester City, the first time he's done so in the top flight game. Simon Hammer put, the way we defend on Mass is superb. The way we play out has been a joy to behold. Counter-attack with pace and purpose, defenders a unit, clever tactics, clear game plan. It's working so well. And also, Belladino, by far and away, 4-0's best performance in a West Ham shirt. Long may it continue. So the tide's turning a little bit, isn't it? You know, hopefully. Benny like Repko also put, just got in, seen the score, switched on. Normally a big trigger for Leicester comeback, but instead I've seen Rice hit the bar and score with a perfect counter-attacking goal. I do not recognise this West Ham. This was before my connection started playing up. So, yeah, I'll try and get back on and refresh and reboot myself. What I can come up with.
All right, buddy. We'll come back to you in a minute. We are just seeing Alan Irvine on the TV. I don't know if Pinky or Noma are just Pinky's keeping an ear on what's being said there. So we'll come to you in just a minute, Pinky, when Alan Irvine's finished talking. Naturally, a delighted standing there today. What a shame that David Moyes can't be there to witness that win. But of course, as Pinky said, we all wish him well and look forward to seeing him back at Tottenham in a couple of weeks' time following the international break. Gnome, the international break. It's come at a really bad time for West Ham, isn't it now? You know, we're just beginning to flow in the league. And
it's always the way, isn't it? Yeah. Just when you get head of steam up, somebody says, oh, hang on. Typical. But isn't it great, though, that we've sat down here and the four of us have genuinely had more than one candidate each for man of the match. And, you know, whoever was picked out of that lot, there's no argument that any one of those were deserving of it.
Yep.
I mean, you know, long may that continue. Definitely need more depth, but we have over the years. There's been a lot of talk about the West Ham way, and everybody's got different ideas on it. I've got another theory that's got nothing to do with actually the style of football.
Okay.
And more the fact that we somehow luck out on a formation or a way of playing or a selection that suits us when we've got no other options. I made the reference to 85, 86 for that reason earlier. Yeah, there's that. There's also there was the season we came up in the playoffs where we ended up with Anton Ferdinand and Elliot Ward.
That's it. Yeah,
at the back, who were superb together, and we ended up with those two at the back purely because we had no one else left.
Yeah,
and hang on, they're good. It works. An old episode of The Simpsons, sort of having dumb luck like that, was known as pulling a homer, and so maybe we pulled an early homer this season. But yeah, you mentioned we've got tough games coming up. But I don't know about anyone else. I'm going into them with a reasonable degree of confidence. I'm looking forward to Tottenham away. My only regret is obviously I won't be able.
We can't go. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. I think they've probably got more reason to be concerned about West Ham at the moment than the other way around, given the last two results in the league.
Just another thing, contrast between the two sides today. The third goal, and we had a superb counter-attacking move. Bowen clear through one-on-one with Schmeichel, and just lets Schmeichel move his weight onto one particular foot, slides it the other way. Compare and contrast that with Vardy, he must have done that more than a million times in his career.
Yeah.
Who basically just snatched at it. And of course, Vardy's backside being off goal. I'm sorry, I lost it completely. I was laughing so much. I literally had tears in my eyes at that concept.
Yeah, I think that might be my favourite moment of the entire stream. To be fair, even though we behaved most unprofessionally and turned into a bunch of schoolboys, I think at that point. But great stuff. Great stuff nonetheless.
I genuinely cried with laughter at that. I did have to say go away from it.
Yeah, very, very funny. Pink, let's go to Pinky now, who's been watching Alan Irvine's conversation with BT Sports. Pinky, what did the standing boss have to say?
Fairly bland, really. His point was our work rate, both in and out of possession, was exceptional. He thought we kept our shape extremely well. They said that the manager had been watching the whole game and had worked on everything with the players in training, so gave all the credit to the manager as you'd expect. Denied knowing anything about any players coming in, as you'd expect, but did make the point that, Moyes been off for a couple of weeks has given him a chance to look at one or two targets. But generally, he said much as we've been saying, another couple of goals wouldn't have flattered us, and we've beaten a very, very good Leicester team. And I've just seen the expected goals numbers there that someone's just pinged through. Yeah, Leicester 0.5, West Ham 2.3. That is a battering. Okay, we have battered Leicester City this afternoon. And what can you say? We are, dare I say it, on two performances, the form team in the division.
Yeah, no question. I think talking about expected goals, I think that follows on from last weekend where I think we were up in the threes. I think it was near a 3.5 against Wolves. It was so that's 2 weekends in a row we've sort of baffled the statisticians and looked absolutely fantastic. Just having a quick look at the YouTube, the chat, just to see what people are saying about man of the matches. We've all offered ours. Gnome went for Kufal. I went for Cresswell. Pinky and Rio going for Pablo Fornals. Mark English also goes with Fornals, and Das Nutnock says Souček. Which is good. AD Star says Ogbonna was a tower out there, and Kieran James Devaney going for Fornals. Also, Hobo saying Fornals as well. Kieran saying that that actually says souffle, I think, but I think he means Souček. It was great, non-stop work rate. Got to love a good autocorrect, haven't you?
I might explain why he rises above players.
Very good, very good. SFNH says Kufal was superb, considering he's only just landed, so to speak. Cresswell was refreshing. All were great, a brilliant team performance, and. Marrakesh Tall Trees says, I really like the look of Kufal. Very impressive performance. Dare I say it, Repka-esque. Must be in the eyes. There must be something about that.
He managed to stay on the pitch, which is slightly not Repka-esque.
Yes, of course, Repka getting dismissed. Was it against Newcastle, his debut, when he got sent off?
Middlesbrough, something like that.
Middlesbrough, perhaps. Yeah, okay.
He got sent off twice in his first 3 games.
Yes. Yeah. And instantly became a cult hero at West Ham. Yeah. I'm not quite sure how that worked out, but
I don't know if he was at some quarters. He was reviled by some, I must admit. But
that definitely was the case. Here's an interesting point, gentlemen, for you all to consider. Mac Newton points out that Fornals is always the first person to congratulate a teammate when we score. He's got a fantastic attitude and really deserved the goal and assist today. Rio, I think this is something we've pointed out before, isn't it, on Eyes Up, that he's a player that really just seems to enjoy playing football. Goes out there, has a smile on his face. It's almost like watching a kid over the park, with his mates, just absolutely loving being involved in some ways.
Yeah, it's absolutely refreshing to watch, isn't it? Because you see so many players play with a snarl on their face and no joy, no passion. Just look at the way he reacted when Bowen scored from his quick free kick against Wolves. I know the club did something the club do get right. Their little montages after the game, they have the 7 or 8 minute breakdown, and they showed Pablo going absolutely ballistic because his quick free kick, Bowen's finish, it worked like a dream. And he like you said, he plays like a bloke over the park, doesn't he? Like he's been out on a Saturday night, had a couple of beers, he gets involved, does something magical, and he just absolutely loves it. It's like he's loving life, you know. And I love to see if we have a montage made by the club after today, just what his reaction is after he actually scores that goal, because obviously the BT cameras don't show it. I'd love to see what he actually comes up with, because he contorts his face into some delight playing football, doesn't he? That man, you know, he's absolutely loving it. He's absolutely loving it.
Yeah, I love seeing a play out. It reminds me of kind of growing up in the 70s and watching, you know, the big match, the introduction, where you saw players like Rodney Marsh and George Best and Frank Worthington playing football with a smile on their face, you know, when it was something to sort of enjoy, rather than now, where I guess, you know, it's partly due to the money and the pressure, I suppose, involved, that it's more of a profession than, you know, just fun, I suppose, in a way. But Brendan Rodgers is looking rather glum on BT Sport at the moment. Pinky, I'm guessing you're listening to what he's saying there right now.
No, you're guessing wrong. I've got another game on at the minute now.
Oh, okay.
I've got David Brent on.
Okay, good stuff. Well, we'll come to you in just a minute,
Yeah.
though, when he's finished, and we'll hear what he's got to say, and, you know, and see if he gives West Ham any credit, or whether it will just be the fact that, you know, he feels his team weren't at the races today. SFNH says it was wonderful to see how happy Pablo was after his goal. He took it so well. Here. Hobo, interesting. He says, I thought I saw Kufal stretching his foot as if cramped after that tackle late in the game, but he stayed on his feet and recovered his position. I think we're going to love him. Hobo, definitely on what we've seen today. I don't think anyone would disagree. Rio, are we ready to have another look at the KUMB Forum match thread and just see how jubilant everyone is today? Or is anyone picking holes in what they didn't enjoy, which would be a little bit churlish perhaps after a win like today's?
I'm still having a little bit of connection issues, but I managed to get a few up. And the Bogus put, haven't seen Vardy destroyed that badly in ages. Ogbonna was a mountain. No weak spot on the pitch. Clean sheet against a free scoring side. Getting forward with intent. Can't ask for more. 7-0 against two sides with a tip for top 6 or 7. Wolves and Foxes have been hammers. Moyes don't come back. Stay at home with your Zoom. Bit harsh, I think, but Iron Board, perfect away performance, 3 points in the clean sheet. Not only that, but the sort of organised power performance Moyes teams used to be famous for at Everton. Excellent stuff. Brother Nero's put, Peter Crouch just rightly said that was the perfect away performance. So many to choose from man of the match. Everyone had a great game and put a shift in. So for me, the man of the match was the whole damn team. Also going on to something slightly alternative, because I can't get a proper connection on the forum at the moment. I've got a couple of comments from friends who've been having a chat with me from via WhatsApp. Mike Bell put, Kufal looks a great player, but he looks really suspiciously like a young Kenny Brown, which I just had a look, and he does.
Fair point.
And also, I hate to bring nepotism into it, but I've just had a chat with my oldest son, Rob. We're just both commenting how professional and organised and well we did today. He went, I love the saga, can get used to it. It's West Ham, it's going to come to crashing halt at some point. And he said, far less experience than us to put together, you know what I mean? So, I'm trying to get a connection, but
okay.
It's probably a little bit tricky.
All right, buddy, no worries. We'll come back to you in a minute. One thing that has been posted on the match thread on the KUMB.com forum is a post from Muppet from Space, who says, once again, man of the match has to go to David Moyes. He got everything absolutely spot on today. The tactics, the shape, the man marking of Vardy, etc., etc. This is by and large the same group of players that almost took us down last year. To be getting the performance levels he's from this lot is testament to his management skills. I kicked the dog when they gave him the job for the second time, and if I'd had a swear box, I'd have bankrupted myself. I'm happy to admit how wrong I was. The only negative about today was Balbuena. He got turned inside out a few times towards the end, and the lack of options from the bench. Lots of quality on it, but not much in the way of industry. Well, you know, I mean, it's suffice to say I disagree with your point about Balbuena. We saw him beaten once right at the end when West Ham were 3-0 up and we were in the final minute of added on time, and I don't think we can be too concerned about that. But Brendan Rodgers has finished his mini press conference at Gnome. You were watching to see what he said. Did he give West Ham any praise, or was it, was it
He did,
Leicester
yeah.
were just
Yeah, I mean, understandably, when a manager comes up and stands up, his focus is always going to be on his own side. I've been to enough press conferences over the years to work that out. But he did say towards the beginning of his comments that he didn't want to take anything away from West Ham. They were superbly organised and superb on the counter attack, I think were the words he used.
Yeah.
He did concentrate thereafter on his own side, who he said, as far as he was concerned, the quality wasn't there. The interviewer pointed out that the stat, if I heard it right, because I was trying to sort of listen to two things at once there, but the stat was that I think Vardy had the fewest touches of any outfield player in the match. The interviewer said that might be surprising. And Rodgers said, well, no, it's not surprising, is it really? Because the way we played, we didn't look like feeding him properly any time. Now, from my point of view, that's credit to us because of the way we set up. We didn't allow the ball to get... I think twice he ended up with that one-on-one situation. The first time, Ogbonna handled him superbly well. The second time, he should have been taking finishing lessons from Bowen. But in the end, he looked very, very disappointed. And said there's no complaints about the result. It was the right result.
Okay, well,
fair enough.
Absolutely, you can't argue with that credit where it's due to Brendan Rodgers, I suppose. One thing we haven't done actually since the end of the game, amongst all this euphoria, is take a look at the final match stats. Now, quite interestingly, looking at possession, you're seeing this a lot lately, where the team with limited possession are making the most of their limited opportunity with the ball. And perhaps this is the changing face of football, I don't know. But Leicester enjoyed 70% of possession to West Ham's 30% today. Yet Leicester only had 4 shots at goal, not a single one on target. We're obviously counting out the disallowed effort in the final minute from Jamie Vardy. West Ham created 14 shots with 6 on target. Corners 6 to Leicester, 4 to West Ham, and Leicester committing 11 fouls, West Ham 8. But Pinky, just a couple of things there on stats. No mention that Jamie Vardy had the fewest touches of any outfield player, despite Leicester enjoying 70% of possession in the game. And then that statistic, West Ham, barely seeing the ball, but seeing enough of it to create 3 goals and hit the bar, of course, as well from Rice, and winning the game comfortably.
It's what you do with the ball that counts. I mean, the oft quoted possession stat, and I know there's lots of ways they break it down further and further, but the basic 70% Leicester in possession. But but if you're just playing square passes amongst your own midfield or backline all afternoon, what's it worth?
Yeah.
More valuable numbers are balls played forward and touches in the opposition's box, things like that. Mm-hmm. And you have to say, did we look like a team that was negative today? Then no, we looked like a positive attacking team, albeit in bursts when we actually had the ball. So I'm not a huge fan on just raw data like that. We quoted the XG numbers earlier, and that's a more reliable guide to me in terms of what you're really doing with the ball in terms of attacking intent. Yeah. And we've battered them. And one sort of like off the wall comment I'm just going to chuck in here right now. The big loser at the minute this season for West Ham is Grady Diangana, because he's basically been forced into joining West Bromwich Albion, who were always likely to be facing a relegation struggle, and that looks like it's going to be the case. And he must now be looking at this going, why couldn't I have stayed at West Ham United? Because I think he's a player now. When we were looking for options in the last 10 minutes and saying, well, has the manager got a better option on the bench than what he's got out there? If he could have turned to Grady Diangana to go on and give us 10 minutes near the end, then actually he might have brought something to the team. You know, the fact that to raise funds, the manager's been forced to sell a player against his wishes. The player's gone with a heavy heart. You kind of sense that. And off the so-called £20 million, we've just put down a £2 million down payment on a right back, and with some vague promise we'll be paying more money in the future for him. I can't help but feeling if you're Grady Dean Garner, you've been mugged a bit by David Sullivan here. And sorry to bring it down to that, but I just think we've sold a player with a lot of potential who could have added something to what was already an outstanding performance by West Ham United today. And if you're looking to play on the counter, are we going to see a better player than Grady to give you that option?
Yep.
The last quarter of an hour. So again, it's a sign of the chairman, in my opinion, not quite being on the same page as everybody else. And and that's a shame. But as for today, the stat that matters. We scored 3, they scored none.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying about that possession stat, and it really doesn't, give a true indication of the game. But I guess there's still that point, that old adage about if you don't have the ball, you can't score goals. So you do need a certain amount of possession. But as you said,
but the other side of the coin of that,
yep,
if you haven't got the ball, to quote, Dave Bassett, you're defending. And the reality is, so if you've only got the ball for 30% of the time, you're defending. Well, we've defended well because we've kept a clean sheet again.
Yeah.
So you can't really have it both ways. So you might not have the ball, but you've then got to do the hard work. And I think the point that Alan Irvine made in his post-match comments was we were excellent both in and out of possession in terms of work rate and shape. You can't argue with that.
No, not at all. I would like to see a comparison of stats, actually, just to see how often the team has 30% of possession, yet doesn't concede a single shot on target. I would imagine that's quite a rare occurrence. But anyway, I mean, it's a very valid point you make. It's, we defended brilliantly today. Everyone from the goalkeeper through the team. It was a thoroughly impressive performance all the way through. Leicester completely nullified. The fact that, as Gnome pointed out there, that Jamie Vardy had the fewest touches on the pitch, says it all really. And it was a brilliant performance from West Ham. West Ham, 6 points from their opening 4 games of the season now, which puts the club in 7th place in the Premier League table as things stand. Interestingly, if we were to project that over the whole season, that would give West Ham 57 points come the end of the year if we were to take 1.5 points on average from each game. Last season, that would have meant West Ham finishing 8th in the Premier League, just 2 points away from Spurs, who finished in 6th place with 59 points. So, if we can maintain that, and as we say, it's a very difficult run we're on at the moment. So I don't think anyone could possibly be disappointed, should we say, given the matches we've had so far. And also we've got some tough games coming up. Spurs away, always a tough game. And then Manchester City and Liverpool, still probably pound for pound the 2 best teams in the division at the moment. Transfer window. Let's move on to that. Pinky, you've referred to it quite frequently also already throughout the match. But Rio, I just wanted to ask you to start with, we've got 48 hours or so left until the window closes. David Sullivan said all the money that we received for Grady Diangana was going to be reinvested in the first team squad. We've spent we've committed to spending around £5.5 million on Vladimir Kufal over the course of the next 3 years or so. We believe, Pinky, what was it, about 1.82 million, I think, that we've had to invest initially? I think it's very good
just shy of 2 million sort of down payment, and and again, it's all about the cash flow and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
To be fair to David Sullivan, other clubs that buy our players don't give us 20 million quid on the nail for them either. It's kind of like, we're going to take player X off you. West Brom would have taken Diangana for 20 million, but actually we've probably only got 3 or 4 million up front. It's the nature of the beast. But there's no doubt about it. We are we're paying a heavy price for Anderson, for Haller, for Yarmolenko, because they're the players that we spent top dollar on, and they can't get any pitch time. And so either we move those on, or we're going to struggle, I suspect, for funds.
Yeah, very, very much so. Rio, do you envisage any more players coming in between now and the close? I mean, of course, the window is open domestically a little bit longer, but you'd imagine that for bargains, at least, we're probably looking further afield over the course of the next 40 hours. Do you see anyone coming in, that central defender that David Moyes has been looking for so long, perhaps?
Well, obviously, there's so many rumours about bringing another central defender that you've got to believe that there's a lot of truth to the fact that Moyes actually wants to bring one in. Again, we got to point out that the more we perform like we did today, even be on a threadbare squad, the less likely the chairman is to delve into his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
We've been allegedly told that there was 30 million plus to spend on James Tarkowski. Can we mention him? Not now. Not on TalkSport now, are we? Haven't got to disguise the fact that he was our target. There's been rumours about Rugani from Fiorentina, Coletta Carr from Marseille. These both look like incredibly good, decent prospects, and players that I'd love to bring in. You've just got to question whether we've actually got the funds to do it. We said that it was said that anything that Moyes had to spend in the summer had to be generated as via the Diagana sale. Yet we generated 80 million from that. Tarkowski, allegedly the bid was initially 30, then 30.50 pence, then 30 million plus £1.27. So there is allegedly £20 million down the back of Sullivan's sofa ready to be spent somewhere. I just can't see it happening. A friend of mine sent me a message the other day saying we're literally looking at strikers to bring in. An area, again, we're desperate for, really, because if we get an injury to Antonio, he clearly doesn't trust Haller that much. We're left with players he doesn't really want at his disposal. We certainly need 3 or 4 players brought in.
Yeah.
I can't actually see anyone actually arriving. And as we mentioned in the week privately, if you want me to camp outside Rush Green on transfer deadline night, send me a thermos of tomato soup. I'm quite happy to do it. You're wasting your time, but I'm happy to do it for you.
You never know. We might take you up on that one yet. We'll see what the weather's like, shall we, on Tuesday? Gnome, have you got any? Thank you, Rio. Gnome, I'll come to you quickly because my voice is rapidly going. Have you any faith in Mr. Sullivan that he's going to put his hand deep into that pocket and pull out a few £1 million to improve the squad before Tuesday night?
I don't think that. I'm not expecting any arrivals, but there are rumours going around. I think this is going to sound a bit sort of counterintuitive or even perverse, but it may not necessarily be a bad thing. Not from the point of view that we don't need strength in depth, and we do need sort of players to sort of come into the setup that we've got, and we do need that. But if nobody arrives, at least on the bright side of things, it will mean that we haven't brought somebody in who's been foisted off on us by some agent because they're mates of Sullivan's or.
But do you not get the feeling that that's a thing of the past now? Because Moyes has had that opportunity, according to Sullivan in the TalkSport interview, to do that, and he said no.
Yeah. I'm hoping it is, but we've as Sam Allardyce had said in the past, he said it was not unknown for a player to turn up at training out of nowhere, and everyone's going, "Who the LT?"
Yeah,
little presents from Sullivan. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously what we've got, as Pinky's quite rightly pointed out. We have this system, and we have 11 players that really suit that system quite well. And we've heard mentioned the last few minutes strikers. Well, yeah, I mean, Antonio's obviously got that shirt for the time being, but
yeah,
his hamstrings aren't getting any younger. Excuse me, and yeah, we has had those problems in the past. Have we had a full uninterrupted season out of him? I'm not entirely sure we have, but when you replace him with Haller's a good player, don't get me wrong, but he's a different type of player. He's more your traditional target man, where you have somebody who isn't that mobile. He's not drawing defenders all over the place. Now, the way we're playing at the moment, it relies on, when you clear the ball, that yes, time to time, Antonio will hold the ball up with his back to goal and bring people in. Other times, as we saw today, we saw both of those where there's a ball play and he's gone and run onto it and he's drawn defenders away with him. And he's a bit of both, whereas Haller's your more sort of, let's say it's a throwback, but yeah, your typical 1960s, 1970s target man who might have a little one running around playing off him.
Yeah.
And he always thrives with the second striker, if you like, or somebody playing quite close off him. And that's different to the way we're playing at the moment. So I can see why another different type of striker is being looked at. So yeah, we remain hopeful.
We shall see, as they say.
Yeah.
We shall see what happens. There's say about 48 hours left to go, and then of course the domestic window I think is open for another few days. So yeah,
it's Tuesday night, is it? Sorry, is it Monday or Tuesday?
You're putting me on the spot now, and I wish you hadn't asked me that because I haven't actually checked. I'm fairly certain it's Tuesday.
Professionalism and preparation is everything.
Yeah, I think it's Tuesday because Tuesday is the day I was supposed to be otherwise engaged, shall we say?
Yeah.
And, which was a really bad timing because it's traditionally our busiest day of the year on KUMB.com, of course, that and the end of the January transfer window. So I'm fairly certain it is, but we'll check. Hopefully one of us can confirm that. We should know that by now, shouldn't we, really?
Yeah.
Pinky, if there is money to spend, put yourself in David Moyes' shoes right now. Where would you invest it before the end of the transfer
Hand
window?
sanitizer.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Sorry, Pinky.
Where would I invest it? The rising sun.
I want to meet that barmaid.
Indeed. No, in truth, you'll never go wrong investing in the spine of the team. And we're clearly a centre-back short. You didn't have a centre-back on the bench today. So I'd be wanting a centre-back in the club, but only if we can get the right one. And I'm kind of with the manager on this a bit. If we can't get the players we want, don't spend the money, because you can only spend money once. And I'd rather make the point to the chairman that a £12 million centre-back is a body, but you're going to have to give that body a 3-year contract. They're all getting 50, 60, 70 grand a week now. And it's an enormously expensive way of just getting bodies in. So for me, if the money isn't there to get the player the manager wants, within reason, I'm not talking about signing 80, 90 million pound players at this, but players that could say can reasonably compete for a first team spot. That's what you want. Okay. You need another 3 or 4 of those in, because the one worry I'd have with what I've looked at today, where's the competition for places? Who's actually nipping at the heels of Declan Rice, Tommy Soucek, Angelo Ogbonna? Who's actually clipping around their ankles in training going, I'll have your shirt next week, son?
Yeah.
The answer is none of them, because pretty much the 11 that started today are going to start next week as well. We know that because this is just the way the season's shaping up. So the lack of competition for places is probably our biggest enemy at the moment. But at the same time, and it kind of enhances my point, if you can't get players of the right caliber, don't bother, because you're just burning even more money. And it sounds a bit strange. I mean, we've got Josh Cullen probably off to Anderlecht.
Yep.
I saw a word somewhere about Noble possibly to Fulham, which seemed a bit left field for me, but you never know. You know, something on the forum there this afternoon, Bobby Snoddy to Celtic potentially. And so, again, maybe tidying the squad up of players that aren't really going to feature very much more.
Yeah.
But the ones we've got to shift, you know, Anderson, I'm afraid his day is done at West Ham, and it really is a case of get what we can from him, cut our losses, and get him off the payroll, because he's not going to get a sniff. You know, clearly David Moyes has looked at him and gone, you don't work nearly hard enough for my team, mate. And you know, the players who you might say you want to hang on to, either for old time's sake or they're relatively cheap for what they are the ones who are able to move. The absolute turkeys, Anderson. Yarmolenko, I'm not so sure that we'll see much more of him after his mistake the other week. And Haller, we need to make the end of an era there. You know, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I don't think he's the right player for us. And if we've got an offer for him, then we need to move him on. And that might leave us desperately short for 3 months.
Okay.
But I'd rather take that and have a pot of money that we can then go again in January and say, right, get 1 or 2 players in of genuine quality. Just squad fillers is a waste of time.
But what about the potential for moving in the loan market? We've seen Rudiger mentioned, which seems unlikely to me from Chelsea, from what we've heard. But are you a fan of the loan market, or do you think you're just bringing in players that aren't really prepared to give 100% for West Ham United because they're not on the not on the books?
I think what the loan market does is it solves other clubs' problems. You know, I mean, let's be honest. Chelsea have spent an absolute fortune, and they now need to shift players out.
Yeah.
If we help them shift players out, that'll only make it easier for them to sign Declan Rice. Now, I'm sorry, Frank Lampard. You know, there's the other side of the equation is once you've bought a load of players, you've got to move players, and that means sell them. And if you have given those players enormous contracts that make them very difficult to sell, well, you've got to live with that then. And so, no, I'm not a fan of the loan market, and definitely not in the same division. I'm firmly of the view it should be outlawed under the game's rules. We saw a situation yesterday where Leeds United couldn't field a player because against his parent club. That's got to unbalance, the fairness of the league. So for me, no, I'm not a fan of loans. It's that only encourages, I think, clubs to behave financially recklessly. No, don't solve other clubs' problems for them. Tottenham will be the masters of that. You watch Tottenham trying to shift players out. Levy tomorrow, he will shift 3 or 4 players out, and other clubs will be solving Daniel Levy's problems for him. And I would say, no, let them stew.
Okay, good stuff. One person we know who is a fan of the loan market is David Sullivan, who quite frequently goes in on, the final day of the transfer window to pull a rabbit out of a hat. And more often than not, it ends in failure, as we've seen over the years. But Rio, we have seen a number of loan players come in during the current administration's tenure, going right back to people like Elan and Wayne Bridge and people like that, I guess, Binag and 1 or 2 more recently. But I'm trying to think actually of any that have been a great success over the last 10 years. I mean, anyone that sort of immediately, putting you on the spot here, of course, but anyone that sort of immediately springs to mind for you, for that, that's really been a bonus to West Ham as a loan player?
Apart from Elan, I can't really think of anybody, to be honest. It's all very much stopgap, papering over cracks, isn't it? And with our chairman's football knowledge and football now and his links to certain agents, we're getting a dross that nobody wants, and we're more than happy to take them on board.
Yeah.
I'm with Pinky. I mean, what Moyes has done in the last 2 windows, he hasn't had a lot to spend. Obviously, January he brought in Souček and Bowen. they've worked exceptionally well. The early signs after today, this Kufel is very much in that same ilk. Even that was, I don't think that was a plan, was it really? If Frederick hasn't got injured, would we have brought him in? But he's automatically come. If Fredericks hadn't been injured, he wouldn't have come in, I don't think.
Yeah.
But he's come in and he looks incredibly accomplished and a great addition. We need quality, not quantity. We need people with the same work ethic as Bowen, Souček and Kufel. There is no point in bringing in players just for the sake of it. If you want to do that, give one of your kids a chance.
Yeah,
don't go, as Pinky said, don't go wasting money on people who don't really want to be, got no intention, and just don't buy people for the sake of it, you know?
Do you agree that there's no real incentive for players on loan to perform, you know, to their absolute best?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't want that disrupting, because today what we've seen is not only an accomplished performance by our players, there's an increase in development of team spirit, because Souček looks delighted to be here. Bowen plays with a smile on his face. Fornell's played with a smile on his face. Obonna's played enough over the last 15 months to force his way back into the Italy side. We've got an international in Declan Rice. Keep hold of him. I'd rather the money get spent keeping hold of Declan than bring in some unnecessary addition. Keep what you got, harness what you got, encourage the squad to develop and flourish. Don't bring in players who you don't particularly want just for the sake of filling up numbers. You know, just quality over quantity in the last few years, because Sully loves a punt, doesn't he? Hopefully, the one shining light of COVID could be the fact that we can't fly over and get someone in from South America. You know, it's a really nasty thing to say, but yeah, when in the Paulistas ain't going to turn up because they just can't fly into the country anymore, and that's a godsend.
Yeah, very good point. Thank you, Rio. Gnome, you mentioned about perhaps sending a couple of West Ham scouts, if there are any, we don't know, but someone associated with the club on the first plane to Prague tomorrow to see if there's any more Součeks or Kufels willing to join the mighty West Ham United. I'm sure that there might be one or two. We've been linked with a few over. Interestingly, just talking about Kufel, we do know that the club were offered him on loan, but decided not to take up the option. So probably for the best that one's turned out, because now he's a fully fledged West Ham United player. No, we're talking about, you know, the transfer window, who you know, what areas to, you know, need priority, and, you know, should Moyes spend before that window closes. You know, what are you doing if you're David Moyes? Are you thinking, you know, we desperately need another centre half, or we desperately need someone to challenge Antonio, so I might sort of, you know, relax my usual criteria or you know, requirements for first team players? What do you do in this situation? Or do you agree with what Pinky and Rio are saying, and, you know, essentially say just hold fire and keep your powder dry until the winter, and, you know, let that money earn a little bit of interest perhaps?
Yeah, that's a sore point, isn't it? Not allowed to mention interest, are we? I'd rather, you know, if it's at all possible, that we get, if Moyes is looking at players that he wants and he really wants them, you know, you'd be hoping that, you know, guts would be busted trying to get them in before the close of this window, because as Pinky put it, you know, it's another. Well, having said that, I presume that the January window is still the January window with all the strange things that are going on. So it's not all that long, is it? I suppose. You know, because you're used to thinking that the transfer window closes end of August. Well, of course, you know, weird times we live in, all the dates are messed up. So I'm presuming that the next window will open on the 1st of January as normal. I haven't given that an awful lot of thought. But,
well, interesting, though, if I can just come in there, I've just counted up, and we only have 12 Premier League matches between now and the new year. So, as you say, it's not an awful long time.
Maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world then if we missed out with a view to being able to not miss out in January. But some interesting comments on the loan market just there as well.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't scrap it, but what I would say is that it needs looking at. The loan market is fantastic in some ways, because what you'd want to see is decent young players going out on loan to, maybe league, Championship, League One, League Two, getting a bit toughening up. It's players who aren't going to break their way into the first team just yet, but need to be playing sort of alongside bigger, older, faster players to get into sort of proper first team football. Development squads are all well and good, but if you're playing against that similar sort of level, you're not going to develop, for want of a phrase.
Okay.
Where it does need sort of tinkering and looking at is Chelsea were mentioned. Now, I've just had a quick look, and they've only got about 20-something players out on loan only. In the past, it's gone up to 40, nearly 50, something like that. And that looked to me to be like some form of business model where they were stockpiling players purely to have as loan stock. And that sort of thing is just a bit of an abuse of the system, really. I'd have said.
So what are you suggesting there? That there should perhaps be an age limit on players that can be loaned out?
Or maybe a limit to the number of players you can loan out.
Okay.
But it's. I mean, again, sort of showing my age, but going back to when when I was a lot younger, and First Division or Premier League teams very rarely took players on loan. Sort of 70s, 80s, I'm really struggling. You might pull somebody in on loan to go in goal if you had an injury crisis.
Like an emergency cover. Yeah,
Sassarelli, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But now it's become a lot more common, and I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me. Again, maybe I'm old-fashioned or whatever, but it's certainly, for me, the loan market is for your sort of top clubs to be able to give experience to youngsters who aren't going to get that toughening up procedure with you. But having 40, 50 players out on loan, which Chelsea have done in the past, I say only 22, 23, I think, looking at that. It's sort of major change for them, but even that's one hell of a lot. And okay, looking through it, there's most of them names you don't sort of know and all that. But one or two in there, Batshuayi, obviously, Kennedy, Chalobah we've heard of,
Ross Barkley.
Ross Barkley, and after that you're looking at presumably that players that are youngsters if you've got 40, 50, that can't be right. It just doesn't seem right.
No. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. It just looks like Chelsea are farming footballers, essentially, doesn't it? It must go against the spirit of the game.
Yeah, they're buying players in who probably don't even make it, or they were buying players who don't even make it to Stamford Bridge. Yeah. You buy them in from one club, and they say, right, you sign on the dotted line. Let's say, right, basically, here's your passport. There's your ticket somewhere in Belgium. Mm-hmm. And we'll send someone to come and have a look at you later on,
It's a model other clubs are copying as well. Atalanta are doing exactly the same thing in Italy. I think they've got, last season before COVID struck, they had about 30 or 40 players out on loan. Atalanta ain't a massive side, are they? They've just seen the Chelsea model work, and they're copying it to kind of augment and supplement financial reasons, squad reasons, the lot. Because they know the way that Chelsea harvest players. It's like farming, isn't it? It's like farming organisation.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very much. That's exactly what it looks like. It's not about giving game time to these players. It's about getting them in and trying to make a few bob on the side, I guess.
But other clubs are now across Europe are now kind of copying the model, and fair play to them, because it's a system that brings in not only pounds and pence or lira as it was, or euros, but if you strike lucky and find someone that does pay off and become a good player, it's a first team squad. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. But it just
Don't
makes you
go to
wonder, Pinky, as a player, you know, why would you want to join a club like Rio's mentioned Atalanta, and we know all about Chelsea, but you know the chances. I mean, we've seen, and it's not a new thing, is it? This has been happening for years. Scott Parker, for example, barely got into the team. Steve Sidwell at Chelsea, absolutely brilliant at Reading. Career was flourishing. Went to Chelsea, it was all over. Ross Barkley, another one who was brilliant at Everton, and his career's, you know, just pretty much gone on hold at Chelsea. I know he's played a fair bit, maybe more than the other two, but you know, it just makes you wonder as a player, why would you move? Is it just? Do you think perhaps these players just think they're automatically good enough to get in the starting 11? But there's so many, isn't there? So many players who, you know, just get to that stage in their career and fail. Who's the guy from Leicester?
And we're back
Danny
to
Drinkwater,
the
another one.
medals or money argument, isn't it? And
Yeah.
what's going to keep you warm and comfortable when you're 65 years old? And players generally, under the advice of their agent, generally will chase the dollar. And a club that says, I'll pay you 100 grand a week, but you're not guaranteed to start, is probably going to be checked or chosen by more players than a club that says, I'll pay you 30 grand a week, but you're playing every week. And that's professional sport, I'm afraid. And it makes me sad, you know, it really makes me sad that actually you get to the point where how much is enough? Because to quote, you know, Harry Redknapp, you know, they all get it, you know, in terms of wages. Is 50 grand a week not enough? Is 60 grand not enough? And I'm not suggesting the players have been greedy. I'm suggesting a number of them have been poorly advised and they're not thinking through their best career choices.
But is that poor advice, and is it not best for their career? Because, you know, in any other field, we take professional sport out of it, which is kind of difficult because it is kind of unique. But if any of us were offered the opportunity to double our income overnight, then we'd probably agree that we'd be foolish not to. But of course, sport is a different beast entirely, isn't it? It's a different animal. But I just wonder, is that not the case now, that because it is so professional, it's mirroring, dare I say it, real life a little more than it perhaps does in the past?
I don't know. I mean, players have always had the chance to join clubs for more money back in the day, and some of them didn't take those opportunities.
Yeah.
And it is complex for a lot of them. I mean, let's say you've got two kids in a school. Let's say you're a player, you're 29 years old, you've got two kids in a school, you're earning 30 grand a week, and another club says we'll pay you 45, but you've got to move your whole family, or your family stays where they are, and you're living in a hotel 300 miles away, and you see your family 2 nights a week, kind of thing. And for what I call your typical journeyman player, that's a very real decision that some of them have to make. But in the case of what we're talking about, what's going on at Chelsea and other clubs following this model, that's not what's really going on here. It's you've got young players getting suckered in thinking they've got a chance at Chelsea, but being paid way over the odds compared with what other clubs would play for or pay a young emerging player or potential player. And then you've got seasoned pros who just can't resist either the final paycheck. I mean, I can't believe that anyone but Ross Barkley thought going to Chelsea was a good move, you know, and Ross Barkley's agent. Yeah, he was the classic, and he got pelters from the Everton supporters for that.
Yeah.
He's now going to look back on his career, such as it is, I suspect with a bit of regret. He'll have an enormous bank account, you know, but it's the old, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger thing, isn't it? You know, when people say, you know, when he says money can't buy you happiness, he says, I've got $50 million in the bank, but I was just as happy when I had $30 million in the bank. Yeah. And I think one or two of the seasoned pros perhaps need to look at that and go, I've got enough dough. I really have got enough dough. I just want to play some football now. And which kind of brings me to Josh Cullen a little bit. he's looks like he's heading off to Anderlecht. And I think I made the point on one of these broadcasts the other week, or maybe put it on the forum. He needed to find a club where he could play first team football every week and actually have a career as a professional footballer. It must be soul destroying, season after season, being loaned here, loaned there, loaned elsewhere. And you're thinking, eventually you've got to be honest and say, I'm probably at this stage not quite good enough for a Premier League start, but I could start every week in the Belgian league and enjoy my football. And who knows, I might learn a bit about the game playing at a particular level and maybe return to the Premier League in a few years' time and be a starter somewhere. It's hard for players. It really is hard for them. But this whole system where Chelsea can just stockpile players is wrong. It's absolutely wrong. But it has been fueled by agents who are just saying, I've got to earn. It's being fueled by clubs who are either gambling on getting the next big thing for a relative song, or, as I suspect Chelsea's case, they're denying competitors the opportunity of getting the next big thing.
Yes.
And
I think that's probably it, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot, definitely a lot in that.
And for me, just limit squad sizes and just say every football club can only have, pick a number, 60 professionals on the books in any capacity at any time. And you'd even out the talent pool in professional football across Europe at a stroke. And it makes you wonder why the likes of UEFA just don't do it.
There you go. We have managed to sort out the entire loan market in the space of the last. We've gone off on a little bit of a tangent there, talking about the transfer window and the loan market, but I think some brilliant suggestions there in terms of limiting the loan market. Perhaps a discussion for another day. We don't want to get too far off of the chosen path today, which is, of course, we're here for West Ham's fantastic win at Leicester City this afternoon. What an outstanding day it's been. We reckon between us, I think Pinky called it, probably West Ham's best away win since that fantastic 3-0 success at Anfield in 2016. And what a season that turned out to be for West Ham. Who knows? We could be on our way to emulating that again this year with 2 wins against 2 very fancied teams in the last 2 weeks, 7 goals scored, 4 and none against Wolves and Leicester. Who would have thought that a month ago, eh? Who would have thought we'd be sitting here in this position now? But this is, of course, what West Ham United are all about. We have always had the capacity to do this against teams we're perhaps not expected to do so well against. And that's certainly proved to be the case again this week. It's Tottenham in a couple of weeks we face. Of course, we mentioned earlier, it's a shame that we're going into an international break now because, you know, we've got a bit of momentum. Forget the Everton game. That was clearly an aberration. You know, a different formation put out, the players that aren't involved in the first team utilised just to give them a game, really. So I think we can forgive Moyes that one. But the last 2 league games have been absolutely fantastic. And it has been just a wonderful day for West Ham United today. Leicester City 0, West Ham United 3. The first goal coming from Michail Antonio after 14 minutes. And Aaron Cresswell crossed to the far post. Antonio getting up there first to nod the ball back across goal to give West Ham the lead. A lead that was doubled 20 minutes later on 34 minutes by Pablo Fornals. Aaron Cresswell with another assist. A long ball over the top, which Pablo Fornals leapt upon. One of the best touches you're going to see this season, I think, from a West Ham player as he brought the ball out of the air and controlled it immediately before working his way towards goal and putting the ball in the corner to make it 2-0. And then with Leicester seemingly out of ideas, a third goal for the Hammers. Pablo Fornals with that split rule pass to Jared Bowen, who scored again, a third goal, I think, this season for the former Hull man, who waited for Schmeichel to put his weight on one side before putting the ball the other side into an empty net to secure an absolutely brilliant 3-0 win for West Ham United. Of course, it could have been 4. Declan Rice hitting the bar with a thunderous shot with a run, 60-yard run or so from inside his own half, went all the way inside the Leicester box and saw the ball cannon back off the crossbar. We had numerous other chances, 14 shots in all today for West Ham. Leicester 4 shots without a single effort on target. And that is, as we've said already, a Leicester team that scored 12 goals in their first 3 Premier League games of the season, winning all 3 games. It's been an exceptional afternoon for West Ham. You know, we don't experience days like these often. So, fellow Hammers, enjoy the rest of your day and revel in it, because it was one of the best performances you're going to see from a West Ham side this season and going back many seasons, as we said. We're going to wrap up now. We've done our post-hour and 20 minutes or so after the game. But before we do so, I'm going to come to the team for their own personal summaries of what we've witnessed today. Gnome, I shall come to you first, buddy. What did you make of it? And, you know, what are your final thoughts?
Perfect performance. Everybody played a part. More than happy. Even if I was a bit grumpy and moaning about being dragged out of bed to get up to do this at the start. Yeah, I've only got two things I really want to say. Is one, can we replay that Newcastle game and with that side? And two, can I go and have some breakfast now, please?
Well done, sir. You've done fantastic today. Bit late for, can't even brunch it now, can we? Yeah. 3 o'clock. Roast dinner, hopefully, on the way soon. Pinky, final summary, my friend.
Outstanding today. Absolutely outstanding from front to back. You know, every player played well. Nobody had a turkey today. The coaching staff, the manager got it spot on against a very, very good Leicester City team, and a Leicester City team that will fancy themselves for a top 4 berth this year. So to batter them in the way we did, and we really did batter them, you know, to the point where even Gary Lineker this afternoon is now tweeting about how well West Ham United played and thoroughly deserved the win, because he can't say anything but that, because today was a day when everyone did their job to perfection. It was a consummate professional showing by West Ham United. And if we play even half as well as that each week for the rest of the season, we'll at least be top half of the table, because, you know, that was a good showing by us, and very, very happy tonight, and well played, West Ham.
Brilliant stuff. Pinky, we shall see you again very soon. Of course, if you haven't been poached by Sky Sports in the interim.
So turn them down. You know, I'd rather have the glory on here than the money at Sky. It's that simple.
In other words, you're going to be our Winston Bogart. You're just going to hang around till your contract's up.
Indeed, do a couple of laps at the training ground every day and go home. Yeah.
Thank you, Pinky. Thank you, Gnome. Rio, it falls upon you, sir, to summarise finally on this brilliant, memorable, remarkable, some might say, extraordinary day for West Ham United. Leicester City 0, West Ham United 3. Sum it up for me, buddy.
Normally, the early kickoffs don't do us many favours. When we don't get out of bed, and I'm not just on about the moderating team. I meant the actual team themselves. We're slow to get up. We're slow to start. We get caught out. But today, I've seen the most consummate West Ham professional performance, as Pinky said, since Liverpool 2000. Was it 16 or was it 15? It was 15, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 15.
You're
right.
September 15.
Yeah.
For 5 bloody years. Yep. 5 years. We've turned up against a European aspirational team, a team with a lot of money spent on them, lauded by the press, full of fresh young faces, England internationals, Belgian internationals, and we come up to Leicester. We're not only beaten them, we've given them an absolute hiding and a lesson. It is possibly the one West Ham performance I really wish that I'd actually been there to see in person for a long while, because it was so sleek, so professional. We scored goals of absolute sublime quality. And I'm gutted I've missed it. I'm gutted I've not actually been there in person or witnessing that. Yeah, it's very rare, I say this, but West Ham United have been not only professional today, but filled my heart with bloody joy because we play some magnificent football. We only 37% on possession.
30.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter a jot because when we had the ball, we looked clinical, we looked fast, efficient, devastating at times. You know, that was a magnificent performance. I'd just like to finish off with one comment from the forum because there's been a lot of adulation. Long shot, and he sums it up perfectly for me. The only negative from today, for me, it's an early kick-off and a 3-0 away win. This is no good for my liver. Up your iron, turn your irons.
Beautiful, beautiful. We're all buzzing. We're all buzzing, as I'm sure you all are out there. You know, we thought West Ham were going to struggle today. It hasn't turned out that way at all, is it? It was I said something I shouldn't say. It was a walk in the park, shall we say, at the King Power Stadium for Davy Moyes' team. What a shame Davy Moyes wasn't there to see it, but orchestrating everything from home. And as Pinky said earlier, we wish him well with that continued recovery and look forward to seeing him on the sidelines at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in 2 weeks' time. Of course, there is no football for 2 weeks. Well, unless you count England, and I don't know about you, but I don't tend to watch England these days so much. But West Ham will be back in 2 weeks, full of enthusiasm and full of verve and spirit after 2 superb wins in the Premier League against Wolves and Leicester, 2 teams tipped to do very, very well this season. Rio's ended with that post from the forum. I'm going to end with another one, which I've already mentioned earlier. I think, did you say it was long shot, that post from Rio?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Well, he's long shot's bang on form today then, because it's to him I'm going to turn for the final word here. A post we've already mentioned.
He's been drinking, that's why.
It's because he's on the sauce. That's why he started at 11 o'clock this morning. He's off his trolley by now at 3 o'clock. He's probably not capable of posting on the forum right now. But before he did sink enough to sink the Titanic or a small boat, he did post this, and he said, Gary Lineker, Emil Heskey, Engelbert Humperdinck, the king of Thailand, cheese and onion crisps. Your boys took one hell of a beating today, and so they did. The mighty West Ham are back. Come on, you Irons.
Go on, you Irons.
Go on, you Irons.